Chapter 10:14. Moreover, what made him even angrier was that he had been suppressed in front of everyone. This made him lose all his face. How was he going to show his face in the future? Little Xian, well done. That's so satisfying. The dark red dragon cheered from the side. Who does he think he is? How dare he look down on us? How despicable. If I still had my powers, I would eat him. The dark red dragon stomped its feet, itching to go up and eat him. Ling's mouth twitched. She didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. Moreover, his attitude was even more decisive and arrogant. He wanted to completely defeat Lu Lai and ruin his reputation so that he wouldn't be able to face everyone. After this battle, Lu Lai's reputation would be greatly reduced. Another dazzling sword chi, sharp to the extreme, like the Milky Way, quickly slashed down, causing Lu Lai to tremble all over as he continuously retreated. I'm going to kill you. Lu Lai finally couldn't take it anymore. His eyes were filled with madness. With a roar, his aura suddenly erupted. Lu Lai finally couldn't take it anymore. With a long roar, his body emitted a terrifying light. He wanted to fight to the death with Lin Xian. What? You can't take it anymore? Come on then. If you dare to make a move, I'll cut you in half. Sword aura surrounded Lin Xian's body. His fingertips emitted a dazzling sword light. He took a step forward and was about to wield his sword aura. Stop. At this moment, Murong Qingshu suddenly shouted and stood between the two of them. His face was cold and his body carried a terrifying aura. At the same time, his voice seemed to contain a calming power. Today is my ancestor's 800th birthday. I hope the two of you can restrain yourselves. His voice was cold and unquestionable. Little brother, I respect you as a guest brought by Qingqing, so I've been holding back. However, don't go too far. You should know that this is Crimson Crescent City, the Murong family's territory. Not just anyone can behave atrociously here. Murong Qingshu stared at Lin Xian, his voice cold. That's what you're saying. Lin Xian sneered. Didn't you see that he was the one who provoked me first? If he hadn't been so aggressive, I wouldn't have attacked him. No matter what, I'm a victim. I think you should blame him. Lin Xian shrugged and said indifferently. Lu Lai shouted coldly, Brother Qingshu, I'll give you face this time. After the banquet, I'll kill him myself. I hope you won't stop me. With that, he turned around and left with the Lu family disciples. Ling, bring me to see Qingqing. Lin Xian spoke. After that, he walked past Murong Qingshu, ignoring him. Clearly, Murong Qingshu and Lu Lai were in cahoots. Otherwise, he would not have spoken up for Lu Lai. Since that was the case, there was no need for him to pay any attention to the other party. When he saw this scene, Murong Qingshu's expression turned gloomy. He was a true disciple of a king clan, and he was even the young master of Crimson Crescent City. His status was lofty, and no one dared to disrespect him. But now, a brat actually dared to ignore him. If Lu Lai was not brought here by Qingqing, he would have already ordered people to throw him out. Brother, that brat is too despicable. I'll go teach him a lesson. At the side, a girl in a blue dress said in a low voice. This woman's appearance could be considered pretty, but her pair of eyes flashed with a cold light, making people feel extremely uncomfortable. Don't be rash. After all, he is brought here by Qingqing. Right now, we are still unable to contend with Qingqing. Don't worry, I'll just teach him a lesson. I won't take his life. Seeing that Murong Qingshu did not object, the girl sneered again and left quickly. When Lin Xian arrived at a hall, he realized that Murong Qingqing was not there. She had been called away by an elder of the clan. It seemed like they were discussing something. Since he was bored, Lin Xian strolled around. Little brother, how should I address you? Why don't we get to know each other? Brother Lin, your heroic bearing just now is really enviable. Seeing that Lin Xian was strolling around alone, several cultivators in the surroundings walked over to chat with him. Although Lin Xian and Lu Lai were at odds with the Lu clan, not everyone here were friends of the Lu clan. There were also some who were enemies. Hence, at this moment, these people seemed to have the intention of befriending Lin Xian. The few of them chatted harmoniously. At this moment, A disciple from the Crimson Lunar City walked over and snorted in a low voice. Isn't he just a small disciple of the Immortal Martial Academy? Does he really think he's someone important? He actually dared to make a move in the Crimson Lunar City. How audacious! Yeah, he doesn't even have Brother Qingshu in his eyes. Too despicable. If it wasn't for Sister Qingqing, he wouldn't even be able to enter the banquet. Many disciples from the Crimson Lunar City mocked. At this moment, a girl in a blue dress walked over and coldly laughed. I heard that Sir Lin's name shook the entire Immortal Martial Academy. Now that I've met you, your reputation is indeed well-deserved. Although you are a guest invited by Sister Qingqing, you should have prepared a gift, right? I wonder what kind of heaven-shaking gift a genius like you would have prepared? Why don't you take it out and let us have a look? Him? What kind of gift can he take out? I don't think he prepared anything. So what if he prepared something? It's probably some trash that he wouldn't dare to take out. A few disciples from the Crimson Lunar City sneered. Hey, you guys can't say that. No matter what, Brother Lin is still a genius of the Immortal Martial Academy. How could he be so poor that he can't even take out a gift? Murong Qian laughed. Don't underestimate Brother Lin. Do you know what sword he's carrying on his back? That's a half-Earth rank treasure, the Solitary Star Sword. What? A half-Earth rank treasure? Hearing this, the surrounding people were stunned. The few cultivators who were chatting with Lin Xian also widened their eyes. They didn't know that the treasure sword on Lin Xian's back was actually so valuable. The few disciples from the Crimson Lunar City looked at each other. They really didn't know that Lin Xian had a half-Earth rank treasure. However, since Murong Qian had said it, it shouldn't be false. In an instant, the way the crowd looked at Lin Xian changed. Greed and jealousy could be seen in their eyes. It couldn't be helped. A half-Earth rank treasure was too valuable. Even a core disciple of a royal family like Xin Yulong didn't have one. One could imagine how valuable it was. Lin Xian furrowed his brows. The woman in front of him had acted strangely and wanted to stir up trouble. It was obvious that she wanted to mock and frame him. It seemed that the strength he had displayed earlier wasn't enough. Otherwise, these people wouldn't have dared to provoke him. However, he was here to participate in the birthday banquet and the other party was a member of the Murong family. Therefore, Lin Xian couldn't act out. He sneered in his heart. He wanted to see what the other party was up to. Seeing that Lin Xian didn't speak, Murong Qian sneered. Sir Lin, why be so stingy? Why don't you show us the gift? Could it be that Sir Lin really didn't prepare anything? Chapter 10:15. Aya, this is too bad. No matter what, you're still a disciple of the Immortal Martial Academy. You're more suitable to be Sister Qingqing's guest. It wouldn't be good if you didn't prepare a gift. At that time, Sister Qingqing and the Immortal Martial Academy will lose face because of you. Murong Qian had a regretful look on her face. But soon after, she smiled and said, It's fine even if you didn't prepare anything. I'll help you think of a way. My ancestor loves to collect treasured swords. If you present the Lone Star Sword as a gift, I'm sure my ancestor will be overjoyed. Moreover, you can protect Sister Qingqing and the Immortal Martial Academy's face. This is killing two birds with one stone. Hearing this, the surrounding cultivators were shocked and sucked in a breath of cold air. Using a half-Earth tier treasure as a gift, this was too extravagant. It seemed like the attitude of the Crimson Crescent City disciples towards Lin Xian wasn't too friendly. They obviously wanted to snatch the Lone Star Sword. Lin Xian's face sank as he asked coldly, Who are you? I'm Murong Qian, just a small disciple of the Crimson Crescent City. Wasn't young Master Lin invited by Sister Qingqing? Why aren't you with her? Oh, I remember now. Sister Qingqing went to discuss something with the elders. Of course you can't enter. Pa. Murong Qian laughed. Her voice was filled with disdain. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Sister Qingqing? So you're Murong Qingqing's sister? I'm Qingqing's good friend. Speaking of which, I'm also your elder brother. How can you be so disrespectful to your elder brother? I'm thirsty. Get me a cup of tea. Lin Xian sneered. Murong Qian was so angry that her body trembled. What was her identity? Although she wasn't a direct disciple of the Crimson Crescent City, she was still an outstanding disciple. She had a noble status and had never been ordered around by others. And now, a despicable brat actually dared to take advantage of her and order her around. He was really courting death. As a younger sister, you should have the awareness of a younger sister. What's wrong? You don't even want to listen to your elder brother's words? Lin Xian smiled again. While you're at it, bring me a chair. I'll wait here for Qingqing. Brat, don't go too far. Murong Qian scoffed icily. I'm only giving face to Sister Qingqing. Otherwise, do you think that you could be so arrogant? Hearing this, Lin Xian laughed. You really don't know your place. I'm just giving Qingqing face. Otherwise, based on what you said just now, do you think you'd still be standing? Brat, you're playing with fire. Murong Qian's expression was gloomy and cold. As one of the most outstanding disciples of Crimson Crescent City, she usually behaved like a princess and had never suffered such humiliation. Originally, she had come to ridicule Lin Xian, but she didn't expect that she would be the one being bullied. This made her furious. At this moment, the surrounding dancers also looked over and started discussing. Those gazes caused Murong Qian's expression to darken even further. Lin Xian sneered. He still wanted to say something, but his brows suddenly twitched. He used his soul force to check behind him and discovered that Murong Qingshu was also among them. Instantly, the corners of his lips curled up and he stopped talking. Brat, how dare you provoke me? You're dead meat. Murong Qian gritted her teeth. What? Is this how Crimson Crescent City treats its guests? You even threaten your guests. Lin Xian said in a low voice, if that's the case, I'd better leave. I don't want to be harmed by Crimson Crescent City. Murong Qian's chest trembled in anger. She wanted to say something more, but at this moment, a loud shout came from behind her. Shut up. Then, Murong Qingshu strode over with a gloomy face. Seeing that it was Lin Xian again, a cold look appeared on his face. However, in front of so many people, he couldn't say anything. After all, Lin Xian was a guest. They were the hosts and they had to take care of their reputation. Otherwise, Crimson Crescent City would become a laughingstock. Brother, this brat is too hateful. Hurry up and throw him out. Shut up. Don't be rude. Brother Lin is our guest. What have I taught you? Murong Qingshu said coldly. But Murong Qian wanted to say something, but when that icy glare swept towards her, she was so frightened that she no longer dared to speak. Brother Lin, I think this is a misunderstanding. Qian isn't very sensible. If she has offended Brother Lin in any way, please forgive her. It's fine. As an older brother, I won't lower myself to my younger sister's level. Lin Xian waved his hand in a magnanimous manner. Hearing this, Murong Qian's vision turned black and she nearly fainted. Murong Qingshu's lips twitched, but he did not say anything in the end. However, when he looked at Lin Xian, there was an almost undetectable iciness in his eyes. All right, everyone, stop looking. This is a misunderstanding. Murong Qingshu turned around and spoke to the crowd. Everyone, it's still early for the birthday banquet. Why don't we take a stroll around Crimson Crescent City? I don't dare to speak about other places, but there are quite a few good places in Crimson Crescent City. Brother Qingshu, I heard that there is a very famous place in Crimson Crescent City called the Tiger Garden. I heard that there are hundreds of demonic tigers there and many of them have reached the level of demon general. I wonder if you can bring us to take a look? A warrior asked. Yeah, I've heard about it too. Many people echoed. Since everyone is interested, I'll bring everyone to take a look. Murong Qingshu laughed loudly. Then, his body swayed and he flew towards the sky. The crowd was excited and quickly followed Murong Qingshu. Tiger Garden? Lin Xian's eyes flashed with curiosity. Then, his body swayed and he soared into the sky with the dark red divine dragon as he followed behind. It had to be said that Crimson Crescent City was very big. The central area was filled with palaces and pavilions while the surroundings were mountains, lakes, waterfalls, and forests. It was like a primitive garden. The Tiger Garden was in the mountains at the periphery. From afar, before they could get close, they could hear tiger roars coming from the forest below. Some of the roars were abnormally terrifying. There was a strong demonic aura. When Lin Xian heard the roars, he was slightly moved because he could clearly feel that the roars contained a terrifying power. The dark red divine dragon had a look of disdain. Although the tiger roars below were powerful, how could they be compared to the dark red divine dragon? If it wasn't for Lin Xian stopping it, the dark red divine dragon would have roared over. Lin Xian followed the large group in front and landed on a mountaintop. Murong Qingshu said that the mountain in front was the so-called Tiger Garden. However, there were no special boundaries and everyone could visit it as they wished. However, they had to take note of the 3 red mountain peaks behind them. It was better for everyone not to go near them, because there were 3 extremely terrifying demonic tigers imprisoned in the 3 mountain peaks. They were even more powerful and violent. Therefore, for safety reasons, it was better for everyone not to go there. Chapter 10:16. Sure enough, there were 3 red mountains in the distance. Although everyone was curious, they did not go because of Murong Qingshu's reminder. Following that, everyone split into groups of 3 to 5 and quickly flew in all directions. Lin Xian also flew to a mountain with the dark red dragon. Sure enough, he saw a fierce tiger in the forest. It was a black-striped demon tiger, more than 10 meters long. It was very ferocious and had a monstrous demonic aura. This demon tiger had reached the level of a demon general. It was awe-inspiring and roared in all directions. Suddenly, it caught a glimpse of Lin Xian's figure and roared, its eyes filled with ferocity. "Little Black, go, bite him to death." Suddenly, a cold voice rang out. The black tiger roared and turned into a black light that pounced. Seeing this, Lin Xian did not panic. Instead, a disdainful smile appeared on his face. Although this demon tiger was strong, it was nothing compared to him. Before he even made a move, the dark red dragon beside him suddenly opened its mouth and roared. The voice was not loud and was even a little low. However, it carried the majesty of a king and directly intimidated the black-striped demon tiger. The black tiger's eyes were filled with fear. Its body trembled slightly and it retreated uneasily. It did not expect that the snake-like animal in front of it could make such a sound. Just as it was about to flee, Lin Xian stretched out his hand, forming a huge palm of light and grabbing at it. "Dragon, catch your hand." The huge light shield whistled with terrifying momentum and caught the black tiger in an instant. Then, it brought it closer to Lin Xian. Dragon catcher hand was considered a unique skill. It was said that if one mastered it, one could kill a dragon, let alone a demon tiger. Lin Xian retracted his hand and placed the black demon tiger beside him. Immediately, the demon tiger trembled and crawled on the ground, not daring to move. The originally ferocious demon tiger was now as docile as a kitten. Lin Xian squatted down and gently stroked the demon tiger's fur. Then, he said indifferently, "What? Was the lesson not enough? Now you want to die?" Lin Xian did not raise his head, but his voice was clearly transmitted to the front. The void in front of him rippled as Murong Qian walked over with a vicious look on her face. "Brat, no one has ever been able to berate me, much less make me look bad in front of everyone. You are the first, so you must die." She stared at Lin Xian with murderous intent in her eyes. "You." Lin Xian shook his head in disdain. "Murong Qian may be quite powerful, but she was no match for him. I know that you are very strong and can even fight against Lu Lai. However, don't be too arrogant. Don't forget that this is Crimson Crescent City." Her voice was extremely cold. Then she flipped her wrist and took out a golden scroll. With a wave of her jade-like hand, the scroll opened abruptly, releasing a white light that instantly enveloped Lin Xian and the red mystical dragon. Upon seeing the white light, Lin Xian's face sank. He was about to summon the Red Lotus battle armor to defend himself. Just then, the red mystical dragon quickly said, "This white light isn't an attack. It seems to have the effect of teleportation." Hearing this, Lin Xian relaxed. However, he still raised the Red Lotus battle armor. The white light enveloped them. Then, Lin Xian and the red mystical dragon's figures disappeared. Murong Qian's figure flashed and disappeared on the spot as well. In this mountain forest, Only the demon tiger was left trembling on the ground. When Lin Xian reappeared, he realized that he had arrived at an unfamiliar place. This place was definitely not the same forest as before. It was obvious that the white light had teleported them away. However, the teleportation time this time was very short, so Lin Xian guessed that they should still be in Crimson Crescent City. Chapter 10:17. Is that so? In other words, this attack was your own idea and no one knows about it. Lin Xian smiled. So what if it is? I alone am enough to deal with you. The corners of Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. Originally, he had some misgivings and thought that this operation had been ordered by Murong Qingshu. However, it now seemed that Murong Qingshu did not know about it at all. This was completely Murong Qian's idea. Since that was the case, it would be easy to handle. In other words, only the two of them knew about what had happened here today. Thus, Lin Xian no longer had any misgivings. Buzz. The void trembled and suddenly, a terrifying scarlet beast claw slammed down. The beast claw was extremely terrifying and it carried a sharp, cold light as it tore through the void. Bang! Lin Xian quickly dodged as the huge tiger claw created a bottomless black hole in the ground. I thought you were some great genius. Turns out you're just a coward who only knows how to run. Murong Qian snorted coldly. Let's see how many times you can run. Chi Hu, break his legs. Lin Xian's body flashed and he appeared on the side. His gaze gradually turned sharp as he whispered to the dark red divine dragon, Ruffian Long, set up a formation and seal off all images and sounds. Don't let this leak out. Although this was Murong Qian's idea and no one else knew about it, this was Crimson Crescent City and there were many cultivators watching Tiger Garden nearby. If there was too much of a commotion, it would be hard to avoid being discovered by others. If they were discovered, Lin Xian would not be able to do anything. Therefore, in order to prevent this from happening, it was better for Ruffian Long to set up a formation. Don't worry, kid. Leave it to me. The dark red divine dragon said excitedly. It quickly waved its dragon claw and carved out runes to seal off the entire mountain range. It was also extremely angry. That detestable girl was simply too infuriating. She actually wanted to kill them in this place where there was no one else. Since that was the case, it would seal off this place and see who would kill who. Lin Xian sent a message to the dark red divine dragon and asked it to seal off the entire mountain range. The dark red divine dragon waved its claws and inscriptions quickly appeared. They flew out from the dragon claws and quickly covered the entire mountain range. Soon, an inscription array was formed. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the formation of the illusion array. He was facing the 4 demon generals, whose strength could not be underestimated. If he wanted to take them down, he would have to use some of his true abilities. If that was the case, it would definitely cause a huge battle phenomenon. If it wasn't for the illusion array, they would have been discovered very quickly. But now, he had nothing to worry about. Murong Qian laughed icily when she saw that the dark red divine dragon had sealed off the entire mountain. I was initially worried that the Crimson Tiger would cause too much of a commotion and attract the attention of others. But I didn't expect that you, an idiot, would take the initiative to seal off the mountain peak, which just happened to solve my worries. Now, let's see where you can run to. When Murong Qian saw that Lin Xian had taken the initiative to seal the mountain, she was overjoyed instead of shocked. That was because she had great confidence in the Crimson Tiger. In her opinion, Lin Xian was definitely not a match for the Crimson Tiger. The Crimson Tiger also roared. Its huge tiger claws were like demonic mountains, releasing endless demonic aura. They intertwined into a huge beast claw in the air and slammed down quickly. The beast claw emitted light as if it was cast from steel. It carried a terrifying aura and easily tore the void apart. Lin Xian used the dragon-capturing hand to fight against it. The two collided, creating a whistling sound in the void. Murong Qian sneered at the back. You're just a little disciple of the immortal martial academy. If you don't have Murong Qingqing backing you up, you're nothing. And you actually dared to berate me in front of everyone and even dare to order me around. Today, I'll let you know the consequences of provoking me. Murong Qian's voice was icy cold. She kept urging the Crimson Tiger to capture Lin Xian. At the same time, she reminded loudly, "Be careful of his Lone Star Sword. That half-Earth rank treasure is very powerful. Don't let him draw it." "That's right, you must snatch that sword. I want to give it to the old ancestor as a gift." The dark red dragon snorted coldly, "What a vicious little girl. You're the one who wants to snatch the treasure, yet you're making it sound so dignified. Is your face made of city walls? How can you be so shameless? You're pissing me off. Crimson Tiger, capture this brat later. Then, capture that snake for me. I want to skin it and eat its gallbladder." Murong Qian stomped her feet in anger. She was actually being looked down upon. Moreover, the other party was an ugly snake? She couldn't stand it. "You're indeed vicious. Little girl, with your black heart, you definitely won't be able to get married in this lifetime. You deserve to be an old virgin forever." The dark red dragon's cold words made Murong Qian stomp her feet in anger. While the two were bickering, Lin Xian and the tiger demon had already exchanged dozens of blows. The two of them fought until the sky and earth turned dark. Sand and pebbles flew everywhere and terrifying cracks appeared on the ground. There were even deep pits in between. The surrounding mountain range was also in ruins. Countless large rocks rolled down and created a rumbling sound. It was a good thing that the illusion had concealed everything. Otherwise, the commotion would have alerted the others. After another collision, Lin Xian's figure fluttered. He then flipped his hand and was about to draw the Lone Star Sword from his back. When she saw this, Murong Qian quickly cried out, "Stop him, quick! Don't let him draw the Lone Star Sword." The Lone Star Sword was a half-Earth ranked treasure and its power was incomparably powerful. Once Lin Xian uses it, his battle power would increase by a large margin. Therefore, no matter what, Murong Qian would not allow Lin Xian to draw it. At that moment, the large tiger demon spoke in human language. "Don't worry, Lady Qian. Even if that kid uses the Lone Star Sword, he still won't be able to do anything to me." When he heard this, Lin Xian was stunned. It seems that this tiger demon was more powerful than he had imagined. It could actually speak in human language. This was indeed beyond his expectations. However, when he heard the tiger demon's words, he sneered. "You're not afraid of the Lone Star Sword? What arrogance! Today, I won't use the Lone Star Sword. I'll take you down with my bare hands." "But, are you afraid now? Didn't you say that you would torture me to death when you were so arrogant before?" Lin Xian snorted coldly. "I thought you had some backbone, but I didn't expect you to be so cowardly." His expression was cold as he waved his arm. Two true dragons quickly bound Murong Qian and pulled her back to his side. "Kid, you dare to touch me? You're dead meat. Crimson Crescent City won't let you off, and neither will the Murong clan." "Won't let me off? You think too highly of yourself. If the one I beat up today was Murong Qingshu, there might be some trouble. But to be honest, I'm here on behalf of the Immortal Martial Academy. I don't believe that Crimson Crescent City will go against the Immortal Martial Academy for a mere disciple." "What? You're here on behalf of the Immortal Martial Academy? That's impossible. Weren't you brought here by Murong Qingqing?" Murong Qian screamed. She was stunned and didn't dare to believe it. Being here on behalf of the Immortal Martial Academy and being brought here by Murong Qingqing were two completely different concepts. Previously, she thought that Lin Xian was only able to enter Crimson Crescent City because of his relationship with Murong Qingqing. Hence, she didn't put Lin Xian in her eyes. But now, it seemed that she was completely wrong. If Lin Xian was really here on behalf of the Immortal Martial Academy, then his status would be completely different. At the very least, he wouldn't be any lower than a core disciple of a king clan like Shen Yulong. One must know that although the Immortal Martial Academy was just an academy, its status was absolutely extraordinary and wouldn't lose out to a king clan. At this moment, Murong Qian was finally afraid. "Young Master Lin, I was wrong. I beg you, please let me go." Murong Qian pleaded with a face full of tears, looking delicate and pitiful. If it was an ordinary person who saw this scene, they might have been deceived by her. However, Lin Xian coldly snorted. He had previously experienced the heart of this venomous woman. Just because of a few words, this venomous woman wanted to torture him to death. If it wasn't for his strength, if it was someone else, they would have been tortured to a pulp. Ruffian Long, set up an illusion array and throw her in. Scare her but don't kill her. Don't worry. Using an illusion array to scare people, I like it. Ruffian Long was very excited. He waved his dragon claws and quickly set up a small illusion array. Then, Lin Xian sealed Murong Qian's spiritual energy and threw her into the illusion array. Soon, Murong Qian's terrified screams came from the illusion array. Her voice was very miserable and would make anyone who heard it shiver. Lin Xian ignored Murong Qian and turned to look at the scarlet tiger who was pinned under the five-finger mountain. Despicable human, let me out and we'll fight to the death. I'll skin you alive. The scarlet tiger roared wildly and his entire being emitted a terrifying murderous aura. You still dare to be stubborn. You're only a demonic beast yet you dare to be so arrogant. Let me tell you, this is human territory. You still want to kill me? Can you do it? Lin Xian sneered and slapped the scarlet tiger on the ground. The slap landed heavily on the scarlet tiger's body and instantly smashed him into the ground. The ground cracked and countless cracks spread out in all directions like a python's web. Lin Xian had very precise control over his strength. Therefore, the slap had only injured the scarlet tiger and did not take his life. Ah, damned human, I'll kill you. The scarlet tiger spat out the human language as if he had gone mad. However, what awaited him was a terrifying palm shadow. Lin Xian continued to punch the scarlet tiger's body until he was smashed into the ground. Chapter 10:19. All the bones in Qi whose body were broken and he fell into a deep pit. However, Lin Xian was slightly surprised. Qi who was indeed from the demon clan. He was indeed powerful. If a human supremacy had suffered such an attack, he would have died. However, Qi who was only severely injured and his life was not in danger. After that, Lin Xian did not attack again. He could not really kill Qi who. After all, this was Crimson Crescent City's territory. Kid, what should we do? The dark red divine dragon asked. Bury him underground and seal him tightly. Don't let him out for the time being. Lin Xian replied. Bury him alive. I like it. The Crimson Divine Dragon was excited. It kept rubbing its hands and quickly formed a seal to seal the Crimson Tiger under the ground. After sealing Qi who, Lin Xian turned around and looked at the illusory formation in front of him. Alright, it's about time. Let her out. I think she won't dare to throw her weight around and bully others anymore. Lin Xian said. It's over so soon. I wanted to play a little longer. The dark red divine dragon curled his lips and dispelled the illusory formation reluctantly. Murong Qian was then released. Her footsteps were trembling and her hair was in a mess. Her face was unusually pale and her body trembled with every step she took. Her eyes were filled with fear. At the same time she kept screaming, "Don't kill me, don't kill me. I won't do it again." It seemed that Murong Qian was still under the shadow of the illusory formation and had yet to awaken. Seeing this, Lin Xian scoffed coldly. With a wave of his hand, a blue frost flew out. Frost and cold air gushed out and covered Murong Qian. The terrifying power of ice pierced her bones and woke her up immediately. Ah! Murong Qian screamed and returned to normal. However, her body still trembled when she recalled her experience. When she saw Lin Xian in front of her, she lowered her head deeply. Don't be so arrogant in the future. Otherwise, you'll end up in a worse state than today. Lin Xian calmly said. Murong Qian did not say anything and lowered her head even more. However, after today's experience, she would not dare to bully others so casually. All right, remove the formation. It's time for us to leave. Brat, you're letting her go just like that? Aren't you afraid that she'll seek revenge? That Murong Qingshu is nearby. If this little girl were to speak about what happened just now, I'm afraid the people of the Murong family would immediately take action. Don't worry. With her personality, she definitely won't tell anyone about what happened just now. Otherwise, she won't be the only one losing face. So, For the sake of Crimson Crescent City and the Murong family's reputation, she will not tell anyone. Lin Xian said calmly. Clearly, he had thought about all these things beforehand. Then, the dark red divine dragon removed the sealing array. Let's go. While you're at it, introduce this tiger park to me. Lin Xian turned around and said to Murong Qian. Murong Qian's face turned pale. Her heart was filled with unwillingness and she did not want to stay here any longer. However, she did not dare to disobey Lin Xian's orders. She had no choice but to agree. Murong Qian led the way in front. She then led Lin Xian and Murong Qian on a tour of Tiger Park. During this time, the dark red divine dragon kept nodding its head. It never thought that this little girl would be so timid and so easily frightened. She was initially arrogant and despotic like a femme fatale, but now, she looks like a well-behaved little wife. Brat, your methods aren't too bad. In the future, if you don't like anyone, you don't even need to attack them. Tie them up and throw them into the illusory array. Let them suffer for 3 days and 3 nights. I reckon that they'll be extremely obedient when they come out. Now, it seemed that it was an exceptionally ugly sight. Murong Qian could no longer hold herself back when she saw so many eyes on her. She no longer paid any attention to Lin Xian and quickly walked forward to stand next to Murong Qingshu. Hey, you're here. Just then, a mellow voice rang out. Soon after, a peerlessly beautiful figure walked over from afar and quickly arrived next to Lin Xian. Everyone was stunned when they saw this figure. They stared fixedly at her and even their breathing quickened. Chapter 1021. You weren't here just now, so I took a stroll around the tiger garden. Lin Xian replied with a smile. You must be tired. Go rest over there. Murong Qingqing was like an obedient little wife as she pulled Lin Xian to the seat beside her. This scene broke the hearts of countless young geniuses as they screamed in agony. For a moment, everyone's gaze towards Lin Xian was filled with hostility. Shen Yulong, Lu Lai, and the others' gazes turned even colder. There was even a trace of killing intent. Even outstanding geniuses like them weren't able to gain the favor of Murong Qingqing. What right did an ordinary disciple of the immortal martial academy have to gain the favor of their goddess? They were extremely unconvinced. On the side of Crimson Crescent City, everyone had a strange expression on their faces. Especially Murong Qingshu, the corner of his mouth was twitching. Although he knew that Lin Xian was brought here by Murong Qingqing, he didn't expect the two of them to have such a good relationship. Under the envious gazes of the crowd, Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing sat together peacefully as they chatted in a low voice. Next, everyone took out the gifts they had prepared and presented them to Lin Xian. At this moment, many people looked towards Lin Xian with provocative gazes. They wanted to see what kind of gift Lin Xian could present. Because the conflict between Lin Xian and Murong Qian was because of the gift in his hands, they were very curious about what Lin Xian was going to take out. Among them, the Wu family, Lu family, Shen family, and Crimson Crescent City's disciples all looked at Lin Xian with a cold smile. They wanted to see what kind of gift this arrogant and fearless youth could take out. Under the attentive gazes of the crowd, Lin Xian flipped his palm and took out a black box. It was a very ordinary box. It was very simple and unadorned, to the point that it was abnormal. There were no exquisite carvings or dazzling lights. It was just the most ordinary wooden box. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to take out something like this. Fuck, what is that? Isn't it just an ordinary box? Look at his calm face. Could there be some treasure in the box? What kind of joke is this? Would you put a treasure in this kind of box? Someone sneered disdainfully. The son of the Lu family mocked him even more. Kid, no matter how poor you are, you shouldn't be taking this kind of thing. Are you here to cause trouble? Seeing Murong Qingqing sitting next to Lin Xian, everyone was envious, jealous, and hateful. Therefore, they seized this opportunity to ridicule Lin Xian. Who the hell do you think you are? You're just a little disciple of the immortal martial academy, yet you're able to gain the favor of the heaven's chosen goddess? You must have used some despicable methods. Now, I'll expose your true ugly face. This was what all the young warriors were thinking. At this time, The Shen family's disciple also said, looking at Brother Lin's calm expression, there must be something good inside the wooden box. No, let's open it and take a look. It's nothing. It's just a medicinal pill that I refined myself, Lin Xian said indifferently. What? A medicinal pill that you refined yourself? Hearing this, the crowd was stunned. They didn't expect that Lin Xian actually knew how to refine medicinal pills. However, very quickly, the crowd revealed looks of disdain. Because in their eyes, Lin Xian was so young. So what if he knew how to refine medicinal pills? His standard was definitely not high. At most, he would be a 5th-grade alchemist. What kind of medicinal pill could a 5th-grade alchemist refine? At most, it would be a 5th-grade medicinal pill. Even better ones would be 5th-grade medicinal pills. This kind of medicinal pill, he actually had the nerve to take it out as a birthday gift? What a joke! Thinking of this, several cultivators sneered. Damn it, this guy is too despicable. He actually dares to look down on our Crimson Crescent City. This guy is purely here to cause trouble. I suggest we throw him out. Even if he has big Sister Qingqing's support, he can't be so arrogant. Does he really think that there's no one in our Crimson Crescent City? A group of Crimson Crescent City's disciples were very angry. Murong Qingqing also looked over curiously. Although she knew that Lin Xian's alchemy skills weren't weak, she was still a little worried at this moment. Don't worry, there won't be a problem. Lin Xian gave her a comforting look. Then, a playful smile appeared on his face. Seeing this smile, Murong Qingqing was relieved. Because she knew that whenever Lin Xian had this kind of smile, it meant that he was very confident in this matter. Chapter 1022. The gloomy young man raised his chin and said to Lin Xian, "You don't have to be envious of me. Some talents are innate. It's useless even if you're envious. However, if you're sincere, I can give you some pointers on alchemy. It's a great honor to be taught by me. It'll save you a few years of detours." The gloomy young man said in the tone of an elder. Hearing this, the dark red divine dragon almost spat out the wine in his mouth. He looked at the gloomy young man with a strange expression. Teach Lin Xian? Lin Xian's alchemy skills were better than some old monsters. He even had the inheritance of King Danyu. Why would he need others to teach him? However, the dark red divine dragon held back his laughter. In his heart, he was laughing maniacally. This kid is too arrogant and overestimating himself. He actually dares to teach Lin Xian alchemy? If he knows that this wooden box contains a 7th-grade pill, I wonder what kind of expression he'll have? The dark red divine dragon was looking forward to it. Lin Xian smiled and said, "Brother, you're really generous. I didn't expect the Shen family to have such a generous and selfless pill. How rare." Lin Xian's words made the gloomy young man even more proud. He said arrogantly, "Seeing how sincere you are, I can give you some pointers. Open your wooden box and let me see how good your pill is. I'll also know where your flaws are." Forget about that. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. This thing is for Senior Morong. It's not good to open it now. Hearing this, countless people spat out the wine in their mouths and looked at Lin Xian strangely. What was this guy thinking? He still dared to give away his pill as a gift. Wasn't he afraid of being beaten to death by the people of Crimson Crescent City? The disciples of Crimson Crescent City clenched their fists and looked at Lin Xian angrily. They wanted nothing more than to rush up and beat this detestable kid up. The gloomy young man from the Qin family was also stunned. He never thought that Lin Xian would actually dare to say such a thing. Could it be that there was something wrong with his head? Thinking of this, the smile on his lips became even more disdainful. "Brother Lin, I advise you to open it now and let me give you some pointers so that you can understand your true level. Otherwise, if this pill is given out, I'm afraid it will only become a laughing stock. That's right. Open it and let me see what kind of top-grade pill you've refined." The surrounding cultivators also said while suppressing their laughter. "Forget it, I gave this to Senior Morong. It's really not suitable to open it here." Lin Xian shook his head. Since it's a gift, I'll know about it last night. Why don't I open it now and take a look? That's right. It's not like you'll lose anything just by looking at it. Let us take a look at your top-grade medicinal pill. The surrounding warriors laughed. The more Lin Xian refused to open it, the more they wanted to know what kind of medicinal pill was inside. In the end, the disciples of Crimson Lunar City couldn't stand it anymore. They coldly shouted, "As people of Crimson Lunar City, it's not too much for us to take a look. What if there's something dangerous inside? How are we going to present it to the old lord?" In the end, Murong Qingshu also said in a deep voice, "Brother Lin, open it." Seeing so many people trying to persuade him, Lin Xian scratched his head in embarrassment. "I really don't want to open it. But since you've all said so, there's no other way. All right, I'll open it and let you take a look." Quickly open it. Don't dawdle. Hurry up and open it." The surrounding warriors urged. In their opinion, what was inside Lin Xian's box was definitely not something good. As for the Crimson Divine Dragon, it was forcefully suppressing its laughter as it grinned and laughed silently. This brat was too evil. Chapter 1023. An extremely unique pill fragrance wafted out and instantly spread in all directions. This smell is so fragrant. Everyone was shocked when they smelled the pill fragrance. What kind of pill is this? It actually has such a fragrance? It can't be. Isn't it a 5th-grade pill? How can it be so fragrant? Yeah, this fragrance is too magical. Just smelling a trace of it caused the spirit energy in my body to surge endlessly. Everyone exclaimed because this fragrance was too special and far exceeded their expectations. Could it be that it's not a 5th-grade pill? Everyone looked at each other. They were puzzled because they all knew that it was a 5th-grade pill. It was impossible for it to emit such a fragrance. It can't be. Could it be a 6th-grade pill? Thinking of this, many people's hearts beat wildly. For a moment, everyone turned to look at the gloomy young man from the Shen family. That young man was a 6th-grade alchemist, so he should know the grade of this pill. The Crimson Crescent City's disciples were also shocked, especially Murong Qingshu. He frowned and said in a deep voice, "Brother Shen, you are a 6th-grade alchemy inscription master. Please appraise the grade of this pill." To be honest, he was also very puzzled. However, he did not believe that Lin Xian could refine a 6th-grade pill. The gloomy young man's eyelids twitched violently, and his face was filled with shock. He looked as if he had seen a ghost. His eyes widened as he pointed ahead and trembled. A 7th-grade pill. How is this possible? Finally, he could not help but scream out loud. What? A 7th-grade pill. Hearing the gloomy young man's voice, everyone was stunned. Is this true? That pill is actually a 7th-grade pill. Could there be a mistake? Impossible. He's a genius alchemist from the Shen family, and a 6th-grade alchemist at that. How could there be a mistake? I'm not dreaming, right? Lin Xian actually refined a 7th-grade pill. Could he be a 7th-grade alchemist? For a moment, everyone was discussing animatedly. The Lu family and the Shen family were dead silent. The disciples of the two families had ugly expressions as they looked ahead in disbelief. The disciples of Crimson Crescent City were even more stunned. Their minds were blank. They did not expect Lin Xian to give away a 7th-grade pill. After all, 7 bottles of pills were extremely precious. Even 5th or 6th heavenly layer exalted realm experts would be tempted. Moreover, that was just an ordinary 7th-grade pill. If the pill in Lin Xian's hand had any special effects, it would definitely make countless powerhouses jealous. This gift was indeed precious. On the other hand, the dark red divine dragon laughed maniacally as tears flowed out of his eyes. This was because the expressions of the people around him were simply too interesting. These people wanted to watch a show and mock and despise Lin Xian, but they didn't expect that Lin Xian would directly take out a level 7 medicinal pill and knock them out. Now, these people were all shocked, and their eyes were filled with terror and fear. It was a stark contrast to the disdainful and mocking expression from before. On the other hand, Lin Xian was all smiles as he said, "Hey, what's your name? Shen family's pill genius. Can you give me some pointers and see if there are any flaws in my pill? That way, I'll be able to save myself a few years of detours." Hearing this, everyone's lips twitched and they were speechless. Sarcasm, This was blatant sarcasm. You've already refined a 7th-grade pill and your strength is heaven-defying, while the other party is only a 6th-grade alchemist. Now, you actually want him to give you pointers. Isn't this a pure slap in the face? When everyone saw Lin Xian smile, they all understood. This kid must be doing this on purpose. First, he pretended to be very weak and waited for the Shen family to jump out and clamor. What if you use the excuse of testing the pills and secretly eat them? Wouldn't that be a huge loss for me? Hearing this, the crowd vomited blood. No matter what, he was still a genius alchemist of the Shen family. How could he secretly take the pills in front of everyone? It was obvious that Lin Xian was looking down on him. The gloomy young man's face darkened. He was so angry that his body trembled. Kid, don't you dare slander me. I won't do such a thing. However, I must test the pills. He was going crazy. If he couldn't find out the truth of these pills, he was afraid that he would be traumatized when refining pills in the future. If that was really the case, his alchemy path would be ruined. Lin Xian didn't care if the other party was traumatized or not. Previously, the other party had mercilessly suppressed him and made him unhappy. Now, why would he care about these people? Both parties were in a deadlock and were about to fight. At this moment, a few elders from Crimson Crescent City rushed over. They had received a report from a disciple and hurried over to stop the fight. After all, this was their Crimson Crescent City's birthday banquet. If a fight broke out, they would be the ones to lose face. Lin Xian did not care about these details. He slowly said, "This medicinal pill is called the Purple Spirit Pill. It is not a normal medicinal pill that can increase one's cultivation. Instead, it is a somewhat special medicinal pill." "Oh, somewhat special? How so?" Master Yen asked. Everyone pricked up their ears. This medicinal pill can allow a person to enter a very special state. I call it the ethereal state. In this state, a cultivator's perception of their martial spirit and realm will be extremely sharp. In other words, a cultivator can use this ethereal state to perfect their martial spirit. What? Perfect their martial spirit. Hearing this, everyone was shocked and sucked in a breath of cold air. Exalt realm cultivators mainly cultivated their martial souls, and this martial soul was very mysterious. It could only be improved and perfected when they advanced in the Exalt realm. Yet now, a single medicinal pill could allow a cultivator to have the opportunity to perfect their martial souls. How long can this ethereal state last? Master Yan's voice was trembling at this moment. He really did not expect that the purple medicinal pill in front of him would have such a miraculous effect. Not much. Only an incense stick's worth of time. Lin Xian said indifferently. What? An incense stick's worth of time. Hearing this, everyone was so shocked that their eyeballs almost popped out. An incense stick's worth of time was not considered much? Then how much time was considered much? Everyone's mouth twitched. One had to know that this was the ethereal state. It was something that could perfect one's martial spirit. Not to mention an incense stick's worth of time, even 1 second was considered quite a lot. Master Yen and the other elders were also shocked. They never expected that this young man in front of them would take out such a precious item. Soon, the news spread everywhere, and even the important figures in the hall were alarmed. One had to know that although these big shots were strong, their martial spirits had flaws. It was just that it was not easy to detect. But now, there was a medicinal pill that could allow them to discover the flaws in their martial spirits and perfect their martial spirits. This was definitely a fatal temptation to them. This was because when one's martial spirit was perfect, one's cultivation strength would increase. The two of them influenced each other. Even Ancestor Chi Yu was not spared. In the end, he and the other big shots walked out of the hall. "Greetings, Ancestor." Seeing Ancestor Chi Yu walk out personally, the disciples of Red Moon City hurriedly knelt down. The surrounding cultivators also bowed down. Ancestor Chi Yu and the rest did not care about these details. They quickly walked to Lin Xian's side. Among these people, an old man in a dark green robe walked out. He had a strong and obscure aura around him. He quickly took the purple spirit pill and carefully inspected it. "Master Mo, what do you think?" Just then, Elder Yen asked softly. Master Mo. Hearing this name, everyone was shocked. One had to know that Elder Yen was already a grade 6 pill inscription master. To be called a master by him, one could imagine how noble his status was. They guessed that this old man in a dark green robe was most likely a grade 7 pill inscription master. Thinking of this, everyone's expression was shocked. They looked at the dark green figure with deep respect. A grade 7 pill inscription master was definitely terrifying. He was an existence that all the big forces respected. Master Mo carefully inspected it for a moment before saying in a deep voice, "That's right. It does have such an effect." Chapter 1025. Even though they had lived for countless years, they still couldn't help but feel excited when they heard this. Master Mo, who was dressed in a dark green robe, looked at Lin Xian with shock in his heart. The youth in front of him was really too young. However, the latter's soul strength was abnormally strong, not much weaker than his own. This was the first time he had seen someone with such terrifying soul force at such a young age. "Little friend Lin, do you still have this pill with you?" Grandmaster Mo asked with hope. Lin Xian shook his head. "This pill was concocted by chance. I only have this one." Hearing this, Master Mo sighed and handed the purple spirit pill to Ancestor Chiyu. "Old friend, your luck is really good." Grandmaster Mo sighed. The other major characters also looked at Ancestor Chiyu with envy. Ancestor Chiyu took the pill and revealed a satisfied smile. "Since that's the case, I won't be polite. Thank you for the pill." "Senior is too polite," Lin Xian replied. "Little friend Lin, why don't we come in and have a chat? I have some matters regarding alchemy that I wish to discuss with you." Grandmaster Mo smiled. The other major characters also threw out olive branches. There were even people who invited Lin Xian to be their guest alchemy elder. Seeing this scene, the surrounding cultivators were filled with envy. These were all major characters at the 5th or 6th heavenly layer of the Venerable Realm. Being on good terms with them would definitely bring endless benefits in the future. Lin Xian also smiled and replied, "All right, I'm here as a representative of the Immortal Martial Academy. I have something to discuss with all of you." A representative of the Immortal Martial Academy? Ancestor Chiyu and the other major characters were stunned. Originally, they only thought that Lin Xian was an alchemy grandmaster. They didn't expect him to be here as a representative of the Immortal Martial Academy. If this was true, then his identity was completely different. The Immortal Martial Academy was an extremely powerful force, not losing out to the existence of the King clans. Putting aside his cultivation base, just his identity as a representative of the Immortal Martial Academy was enough to be on the same level as these major characters. One had to know that this identity was different from Xin Yulong, who was a core disciple of a king clan. The latter was only participating in the competition as an individual. Therefore, although his identity was extraordinary, it was not enough to cause a commotion among Ancestor Chiyu and the others. Because he could not represent the Shen family. But Lin Xian was different. As the representative of the Immortal Martial Academy, his words might very well represent the will of the Immortal Martial Academy. This caused the Scarlet Moon Ancestor and the others to have no choice but to take him seriously. Thinking of this, Ancestor Chiyu's expression turned serious. He said in a clear voice, "Sir Lin, please." Lin Xian entered the main hall at the invitation of all the important figures. Of course, Murong Qingqing was also traveling with him. Her status was even nobler than Ancestor Chiyu's, so no one cared where she wanted to go. As for the remaining group of ancient martial art practitioners, they were completely stunned. Their minds went blank. They didn't dare to believe it. Am I dreaming? Wasn't he brought here by Murong Qingqing? How did he become the representative of the Immortal Martial Academy? Who is this kid? Why do I feel that he is so mysterious? The crowd discussed fervently, feeling extremely shocked. The disciples of Crimson Crescent City looked solemn and worried. One must know that their attitude towards Lin Xian wasn't exactly good. If Lin Xian were to say something to Old Master Red Crescent City, they would be in deep trouble. Shen Yulong, Lu Lai and the rest also had gloomy expressions on their faces. Every status of Lin Xian caused them to be incomparably jealous. They had noble statuses and extraordinary talents. Usually, wherever they went, they would be surrounded by stars. But now, they were actually inferior to someone else. Moreover, the other party was their enemy. This caused them to feel extremely unhappy in their hearts. There was even a trace of killing intent in their hearts. Outside, the ancient martial art practitioners were discussing fervently. Inside the main hall, the important figures were also shocked. Because just a moment ago, Lin Xian had told them about the immortal martial auction. He even formally invited them to participate in the first immortal martial auction. The hearts of the ancestor Qi Yu and the rest were filled with shock. They didn't expect this young man to have such courage, daring to establish a new immortal martial auction in the territory of the Vientiane auction. One must know that the Vientiane auction was a subordinate force of young noble Ling Feng. By doing this, he was completely opposing young noble Ling Feng. But what made them even more shocked was that Lin Xian actually obtained the support of the Immortal Martial Academy. This caused everyone to be extremely shocked. Because the Immortal Martial Academy had always been neutral. Although they had their own businesses, they didn't have any conflicts with other sovereigns. This time, they seemed to have violated this principle and directly stood on the opposite side of young noble Ling Feng. Young noble Ling Feng didn't only have his own power. Behind him stood the War God Palace. That was one of the top powers in the Continental Mountain. It wasn't any weaker than the Immortal Martial Academy. Were these two great powers going to fight for supremacy? Everyone's heart sank. It seemed like the Blood Realm was going to be chaotic. However, these people didn't reject the invitation to the auction. After all, they had to give face to the Immortal Martial Academy. Moreover, even if young noble Ling Feng was angry, he couldn't find fault with them. Hence, very quickly, the Scarlet Moon ancestor and the others all agreed with a smile. Next, they chatted about something else. Grandmaster Mo and Lin Xian were discussing the Violet Spirit Pill. Naturally, other than the pill formula, Lin Xian also discussed the other matters with Grandmaster Mo. After all, Grandmaster Mo was a genuine 7th grade pill refiner. His experience and strength were also incomparably strong. It was a good opportunity for him to exchange some insights with Grandmaster Mo and verify what he had learned. As for Grandmaster Mo, the more they conversed, the more shocked he felt. Although this young man in front of him was young, his knowledge and attainments in the field of alchemy had far exceeded his imagination. There were even some theories that he had never heard of before. This caused him to be extremely shocked. He couldn't help but feel even more curious about Lin Xian. A mountain peak was directly split into two by the aura of the two people. On the other side, the endless forest collapsed and the trees turned into powder. This scene was too terrifying. The two of them had not even made a move, but they had already caused such a commotion. Fortunately, the two of them did not make a move in Crimson Crescent City. Otherwise, the entire Crimson Crescent City would be in trouble. Even Xin Yulong, Murong Qingshu, and the rest had grave expressions as they stared at the battlefield. In the next moment, Lu Lai made his move. Chapter 1028. The Black Dragon Bow was a famous murderous weapon. Rumor had it that it was made from the tendons of a real dragon. Ever since the Black Dragon Bow was born, it had killed many powerful warriors. It was extremely ferocious. Isn't that young Master Ling Feng's weapon? I didn't expect him to give it to Lu Lai. Rumor has it that young Master Ling Feng used the Black Dragon Bow to kill a 6th heaven venerable. One can imagine how terrifying the Black Dragon Bow is. Now that Lu Lai is using it, I'm afraid that Lin Xian is in danger. Many people were discussing. Murong Qingqing's expression was also solemn. She had naturally heard of the Black Dragon Bow's ferocious reputation. However, she still chose to believe in Lin Xian because even she couldn't fully understand Lin Xian's trump card. He should have a way to resist the Black Dragon Bow. It spun like a black bow, like a real dragon in the void. A terrifying bloody aura spread in all directions. The murderous aura formed a materialized light that swept across heaven and earth. The aura was too terrifying. It was as if the gates of hell had opened and countless demons had come to the human world. Lu Lai held the black dragon bow in his hand and became demonic. Then he flicked it gently. Buzz. Immediately, there was a buzzing sound in heaven and earth. The sound was very terrifying. It shook the void as if countless demons were roaring crazily. Kid, it's your fortune to be able to die under the black dragon bow. Lu Lai's expression was cold like a god fiend. The black dragon bow had once killed a 6th heavenly layer venerable realm expert. Killing Lin Xian would be a piece of cake for it. Lu Lai's black hair fluttered in the wind. He held the black dragon bow tightly and placed his other hand on the bowstring. Terrifying spiritual energy surged and formed a fiery red arrow. In the next moment, the crimson arrow flew out quickly. A red arrow flew towards Lin Xian like a bolt of lightning, accompanied by the furious roar of a dragon. The arrow carried a terrifying murderous aura that pierced through heaven and earth. It was as if a dragon had appeared and roared in all directions. The aura was too terrifying. It was as if it could pierce through heaven and earth. It carried a monstrous murderous aura as it rampaged through the void. Wherever it passed, pitch-black vortexes appeared in the void. When the crowd saw this scene, their hearts trembled violently. Some of the weaker ones were so frightened by the murderous aura that they fell to the ground. Even Xin Yulong, Murong Qingshu, and the others had ugly expressions. That aura was still able to threaten them. As expected of the black flood dragon bow, it's really fierce. Murong Qingqing held the snow-white little fox in her arms and looked ahead seriously. The dark red dragon god beside her was unusually excited. Kid, kill him and take that black bow. The moment the black dragon bow appeared, the dark red divine dragon had taken a liking to it. According to his many years of experience, this black flood dragon bow was definitely not simple. It was very likely that it was a half-earth step artifact. Lin Xian was also surprised. He did not expect Lu Lai to possess such a powerful weapon. Its aura was no weaker than his Lone Star Sword. Facing that terrifying arrow, Lin Xian did not dare to be careless. He held the Lone Star Sword tightly and pushed the Great Dragon Sword soul with all his might. Then he swept it upwards. Sword chi crisscrossed as the divine sword appeared in the sky. This sword heavily slashed on the blood-colored arrow, creating a sky-shaking sound. The terrifying sound wave directly shattered over 10 mountains nearby. In the end, that blood-colored arrow that was filled with killing intent was deflected by Lin Xian's sword. What? He actually deflected the arrow from the black flood dragon bow. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. That was the black flood dragon bow, the weapon that young Master Lingfeng once used. It was a powerful weapon that killed a 6th-level venerable. Now, this weapon was given to Lu Lai. Although Lu Lai's strength was not as strong as young Master Lingfeng, using this weapon to kill a martial artist of the same level should not be a problem. But now, Lin Xian deflected the arrow from the black flood dragon bow with a single sword. It was too shocking. Seeing this scene, Lu Lai snorted in disdain. He held the black flood dragon bow in his hand and stood in the void. He looked down like a demon god. Don't be complacent. That arrow was just casually shot out. I did not use much strength. Now, I will let you see the true power of the black flood dragon bow. Lu Lai's voice was cold as if he was the god of death. What? Casual attack? Hearing this, everyone's hearts trembled violently. This is too terrifying. A casual attack is already so terrifying. If he were to use his full strength, how terrifying would it be? No one dared to imagine. In the next moment, Lu Lai drew the black flood dragon bow again in front of countless horrified eyes. Suddenly, an arrow that was filled with killing intent flew out. It was as if a flood dragon had been born. A terrifying aura swept across the void and instantly tore the entire void apart. A black crack appeared in the void. The entire void seemed to have been torn into two. The ground and mountains below were also split open. Everything within a radius of 10 miles was destroyed by the terrifying killing intent. This arrow was as if a peerless demon had been born. Lin Xian let out a long roar and activated the Great Dragon Sword Soul to the extreme. He waved the Lone Star Sword and slashed continuously. Sword chi flew out and slashed the terrifying demonic dragon's body. Clanging sounds rang out and countless sparks flew out. It was as if a comet had hit the ground. This weapon was too terrifying. It was stained with the blood of an expert and had a demonic nature. Now that it was activated by Lu Lai, it was even more powerful to the extreme. Murong Qingshu's expression was grave. The terrifying killing intent shocked him. The terrifying arrow whistled through the air with a monstrous killing intent. It was like a long rainbow that instantly attacked below. If it were other honorable realm experts, they would not even need to fight back. The killing intent that was emitted would be enough to crush them. Moreover, what made people's scalps go numb was that after shooting this arrow, Lu Lai did not stop. Instead, he waved his arm again and shot out another 5 arrows. 5 arrows that were filled with killing intent flew across the void and quickly flew towards Lin Xian. This time, Lu Lai had the intention to kill. He must kill Lin Xian and nail him to the ground. Lin Xian's expression was also cold. He quickly activated the Ice Martial Soul and merged it with the Lone Star Sword. In the next moment, a monstrous chill was emitted. Countless snowstorms surrounded him, and he was like the divine king of ice and snow. Holding the Lone Star Sword, he quickly rushed forward. Taking the initiative to attack? He is too bold. Seeing this scene, everyone's hearts trembled violently. If an ordinary person encountered such a situation, they would definitely use their extreme speed to dodge. However, Lin Xian took the initiative to meet the attack. Could it be that he is not afraid of the terrifying killing intent? In fact, the crowd did not know that Lin Xian was not afraid of the peerless killing intent. One had to know that he had the Blood Sword King's inheritance and cultivated the Tao of Slaughter. Therefore, although the Black Dragon Bao's killing intent was strong, it did not affect him. Moreover, Lin Xian did not plan to hold back this time. He had to take the initiative to attack and kill his opponent. The moment he rushed into the sky, the Red Lotus battle armor quickly formed and wrapped around his body. The monstrous killing intent and monstrous chi waves were all blocked outside his body. Chapter 1029. Lin Xian swung the Lone Star Sword continuously. Every sword chi was thicker than a mountain. It was as if they were the swords of a god. They heavily slashed at the 5 dragon arrows. Boom! Suddenly, a huge explosion occurred in the void. Endless light flickered and waves of air rolled, annihilating the sky. It was not over yet. Lin Xian used the illusory demon steps to increase his speed to the extreme. He quickly shuttled through the void and rushed towards Lu Lai. Although the Black Dragon Bao was fierce and powerful, it was also a long-range weapon. It would not be of much use in close combat, so Lin Xian chose to fight in close combat. Moreover, he had the Red Lotus armor to protect his body. He was not afraid of close combat at all. In the next moment, he arrived in front of Lu Lai like a ghost. He quickly swung the Lone Star Sword in his hand, forming a mysterious sword chi that slashed forward. "You're courting death." Lu Lai was furious. He did not expect his opponent to dare to fight in close combat. Moreover, he was able to arrive in front of him so quickly. This shocked him. In the next moment, he held the Black Dragon Bao and used it as a long saber, sweeping it out. The Black Dragon Bao was made from a real dragon. It was extremely hard and had already entered the ranks of Earth-rank treasures. Therefore, even if it was used as a long saber, the power would be unimaginable. A sonorous sound rang out. The entire void trembled. The ground below was even cracked into countless pieces because of the sound waves. The two of them fought in close combat. It was very intense. The terrifying aura was vast and mighty. The two of them fought all the way. Wherever they went, mountains and rivers would collapse. It was extremely terrifying. The spectators in the distance were shocked. This level of battle was too exciting. Every move was extremely terrifying. If they went up, they would probably be turned into a bloody mist in an instant. The two of them exchanged dozens of moves. It was earth-shattering. On the other hand, Lu Lai was extremely furious. His expression was ferocious because every time they collided, he had to expend a lot of mental energy to block the energy waves. However, his opponent was different. The red armor on Lin Xian's body blocked all the energy waves, making him very fierce. He would not be injured at all. In this tense situation, Lin Xian fought more and more fiercely. Gradually he showed signs of suppressing Lu Lai. This was unbearable. "Get lost!" Lu Lai roared. His black hair danced in the wind as if he had gone mad. He quickly put away the black dragon bow. With a roar, the spirit energy in his body surged. The huge shadow of the black dragon quickly swam behind him and attached itself to his arm, completely merging with his right hand. The current situation was no longer suitable for him to use the black dragon bow, so Lu Lai did not hesitate. After fusing with the Jiao dragon martial soul, his right hand became extremely strange. The scales on it shone as if a Jiao dragon was circling around it. When the fist struck out, a dragon's head condensed into a gauntlet that wrapped around the entire fist. Then, Lu Lai punched out. The fist wind surged like a flood dragon attacking, instantly shattering the void. The terrifying fist force spread out in all directions, causing the entire void to tremble. Flood Dragon Arm. This was one of Lu Lai's killing moves. It allowed his martial soul to fuse with his arm, producing a powerful attack that could even kill a fifth-layer Venerable Realm cultivator. Lu Lai's arm was like a demon. It was like a coiled dragon. His entire arm had a cold metallic glow. Above the fist, there was a dragon head roaring ferociously. Its cold eyes opened, carrying a ruthless and powerful aura, causing people's hearts to tremble. Boom! The fist completely enveloped Lin Xian and sent him flying. Fortunately, Lin Xian had the Red Lotus armor to protect his body, so he did not suffer any serious injuries. However, the terrifying force still caused his blood to boil. It was undeniable that Lu Lai was indeed a powerful opponent. However, Lin Xian was not afraid. He snorted coldly and quickly attacked. He activated the Great Dragon Sword Soul and released streaks of True Dragon Sword Qi. They slashed upwards and collided with the Jiao Dragon Fist. In an instant, the two of them exchanged more than 10 moves. What? He can actually resist the Jiao Dragon Wall. The surrounding people were shocked. Lu Lai was even more shocked. This was already his most powerful killing move, but it still could not do anything to his opponent. He could not accept this. At the thought of this, he gritted his teeth. Spiritual energy gathered in his head, forming a huge vortex that quickly surged into his entire arm. Then, the spiritual energy quickly burned and turned into a powerful energy. Dragon dances in the 9 heavens. Lu Lai roared into the sky and swung his fist with all his might. 9 Jiao dragon shadows quickly surged out from his fist and circled around ferociously. "Kid, go to hell!" Lu Lai's ferocious laughter resounded in the sky along with the 9 Jiao dragon fist shadows. The 9 Jiao dragon fist shadows were too terrifying. They sealed the entire void, and the boundless spiritual energy seemed to want to refine Lin Xian alive. Feeling the aura, the crowd was terrified and quickly retreated. Even Murong Qingcheng frowned and was extremely nervous. The dark red divine dragon waved its dragon claws and said fiercely, "Kid, use your trump card and kill him." Lin Xian felt a great sense of danger. The 9 Jiao dragon fist shadows above him were too terrifying. It made him shudder with fear. If he was hit by the 9 Jiao dragon fist shadows, he was afraid that he would be seriously injured even with the Red Lotus armor. This was not the result he wanted. In the next moment, he flipped his palm and a bright red boxing glove covered his fist. On top of it, a red lotus bloomed enchantingly. As soon as the glove appeared, it emitted a dazzling light and rushed into the sky like a rainbow. Even the pressure formed by the 9 Jiao dragon fist shadows was scattered by the light. Red Lotus sky splitting. Lin Xian swung his fist and directly punched out. The light flickered and a huge red fist shadow quickly flew toward the 9 Jiao dragon fist shadows. In the fist shadow, there seemed to be a red lotus swaying slightly and emitting a terrifying aura. What kind of boxing technique is this? It's too terrifying. Seeing this scene, the crowd's hearts almost jumped out. Their mouths were dry and they couldn't believe it. Xin Yulong and Murong Qingshu were also shocked at this moment because they could clearly feel the aura of the Red Lotus boxing glove. It wasn't any weaker than the Lone Star sword. What kind of treasure was that? Was it also a half-Earth rank treasure? What pill is this? It's so heaven-defying. He recovered from such serious injuries in an instant. Gosh, Lu Lai is too terrifying. He actually has such a powerful technique. The crowd was shocked and couldn't believe it. Lin Xian furrowed his brows as his expression darkened. He was well aware of the injuries caused by the previous punch. It was definitely a serious injury. Even a level 5 honorable realm cultivator wouldn't be able to recover in such a short time. However, a single pill had changed the entire situation. It allowed the heavily injured Lu Lai to recover to his original state. Even the spiritual energy he had consumed was replenished. This made Lin Xian extremely surprised. He was an alchemist and had received the inheritance of the Pill Feather King. It could be said that his knowledge of alchemy was extraordinary. Therefore, he knew how terrifying this pill was. To be able to achieve such an effect, it was at least a 7th grade pill. It might even be an 8th grade pill. He really didn't expect Lu Lai to have such a top grade pill. Xin Yulong, Murong Qingshu, and the others were also extremely shocked. Undying Gold Pill, he actually has the Undying Gold Pill. Murong Qingshu was extremely shocked. How did this guy do it? First, he had the 10,000 Flood Dragon Bao used by young noble Ling Feng. Now, he even took out the Undying Gold Pill. He's only a genius of the Lu family. How could he have so many treasures? Murong Qingshu was too shocked because the Undying Gold Pill was a treasure that only young noble Ling Feng had. Just from the name, one could know that as long as a martial artist didn't die, they could immediately recover after taking one. This was definitely a heaven-defying pill. This kind of thing was usually bestowed by young noble Ling Feng to his ministers. Lu Lai was so young. How could he have gotten such a thing? On the side, Xin Yulong's face was also gloomy. He said in a deep voice, "According to the information I got from the family, it seems that young noble Ling Feng has taken a fancy to Lu Lai's sister. That's why the Lu family's status rose and Lu Lai could have such a treasure." Lu Lai's sister, no wonder. To be able to become young noble Ling Feng's woman, her family would definitely receive great benefits. This could also explain why Lu Lai had so many treasures in his hands. After the surrounding people heard this, they were envious. They wished that everyone could have a beautiful sister and be fancied by young noble Ling Feng. Then they could also soar into the sky. In the distance, Murong Qingcheng frowned again. This scene made her worried again. As for the dark red divine dragon, his mouth was wide open from ear to ear, drooling non-stop. Damn! Undying Gold Pill. It's actually the Undying Gold Pill. Wasn't that pill recipe lost? I didn't expect it to appear here. This is a good thing. He kept shaking his head, seeming abnormally excited. Below, Lu Lai's body returned to normal. The corner of his mouth curled up into a cruel smile. "Kid, I will let you know what regret is." "Not good. I'm afraid he still has a trump card that he hasn't used yet." Hearing Lu Lai's words, Murong Qingcheng was also shocked. Lin Xian, on the other hand, frowned because he realized that the other party was not boasting. He could clearly sense that Lu Lai's aura suddenly became stronger, far stronger than before. 9 Revolution Netherworld Mantra. Lu Lai shouted angrily. His expression was abnormally cold. His black hair fluttered as if he was a demon that walked out from hell. His entire person was incomparably demonic. Chapter 1031. 9 Turns Nether Mantra. Lu Lai roared as his black hair fluttered in the wind. He was like a demon from hell, becoming abnormally demonic. A strange and terrifying energy burst out from his body and swept through heaven and earth. Feeling this aura, the surrounding people's faces changed, especially Xin Yulong, who immediately screamed. 9 Turns Nether Mantra, how is this possible? He actually knows the 9 Turns Nether Mantra. Brother Yulong, what exactly is this 9 Turns Nether Mantra? Shen Yaodan and the rest asked in a trembling voice. This is also young Master Ling Feng's cultivation technique. It's a powerful earth-grade martial art. I didn't expect young Master Ling Feng to pass this down to Lu Lai. He was too shocked. One had to know that the 9 Turns Nether Mantra was a true earth-grade martial art. Its power and value were immeasurable. Earth-grade martial art. Hearing this voice, everyone was stunned as they looked at the sky in shock. Earth-grade martial arts were the top martial arts in the continent, something that every martial artist dreamed of obtaining. They didn't expect Lu Lai's final trump card to be an Earth-grade martial art. Lin Xian was probably in danger. The power of an Earth-grade martial art was mysterious and unfathomable. It was absolutely terrifying. Indeed, with Lu Lai's strength, even an ordinary fifth heaven supremacy would find it difficult to contend with an Earth-grade martial art. Lin Xian might have the Lone Star Sword, but his opponent's Black Dragon Bow wasn't to be trifled with either. With this comparison, Lin Xian was definitely at a disadvantage. Unless Lin Xian also had an Earth-grade martial art. But did Lin Xian really have an Earth-grade martial art? No one knew what was going on. Everyone was looking ahead nervously. This battle was really too exciting. Every time both sides used their trump cards, it was beyond their expectations, causing them to be extremely shocked. Among those of the same level, even those of the older generation wouldn't be able to do so. Lin Xian felt this aura and his expression turned solemn. What a terrifying aura. This was an Earth-grade martial art. His voice was extremely solemn. Obviously, this aura made him feel a great pressure. 9 turns Nether Mantra, first move. Lu Lai's voice was terrifying and extremely powerful. Countless rays of light shot out from his body, dazzling beyond compare. At this moment, his Flood Dragon martial art also separated from his right arm and circled around his body, completely fusing with him, making him look like a war god. Boom! Along with his voice, a terrifying aura quickly gushed out from his palm. In an instant, a large mountain near him was razed to the ground. The terrifying aura didn't stop and continued to surge forward. Lin Xian's pupils shrank as he felt the threat of death looming over him. His body swayed as he executed the illusory demon steps and quickly retreated. At the same time, he tightened his grip on the Lone Star Sword. The great dragon sword soul circulated rapidly within his body, and a sharp sword soul aura erupted from his body. Boom! In the next moment, a terrifying crater appeared where Lin Xian had been standing. It was incomparably huge, as if it was connected to hell. This was simply too terrifying. If Lin Xian had been a step later, even with the Red Lotus battle armor, he would not have been able to withstand that terrifying power. The power of the 9 turns Nether Mantra did not dissipate. Instead, it surged once again and flew towards Lin Xian, determined to blast him into dust. Seeing this, Lin Xian did not hesitate any longer. He quickly took a deep breath and waved the Lone Star Sword. Streaks of mysterious trajectories were drawn in the air. Lin Xian quickly swung his sword and scattered them in front of him. Rumble! The sky seemed to have been cut open as a huge sword shadow formed above. In the end, with an incomparably violent and supreme stance, it ruthlessly slashed down on the huge light beam. Boom! The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Countless huge mountains were razed to the ground, and the rivers flowed backward, forming endless waves of air. Seeing this scene, everyone's hearts trembled violently. They all exclaimed, "He blocked it! How is this possible?" The 9 turns Nether Mantra was blocked. They were all stunned. They did not expect such a violent attack to be blocked by Lin Xian. No one dared to imagine. That was an Earth-rank martial art, the top cultivation technique on the continent. There was no choice. Earth-rank martial arts were too famous. Every martial artist knew the terror of an Earth-rank martial art. It could be said that whoever had an Earth-rank martial art could soar to the sky. Killing people above one's level was nothing difficult. But now, Lin Xian actually blocked the terrifying Earth-rank martial art. This made everyone's heads explode. What? How is this possible? This is impossible. Lu Lai's pupils constricted as he stared at Lin Xian with a pair of cold eyes. He did not expect that even an Earth-rank martial art like the 9 turns Nether Mantra could not kill Lin Xian. This made him unable to believe it. "Kid, I have to admit that you have indeed exceeded my expectations. But today, you will definitely die because that was only the first move of the 9 turns Nether Mantra. Next, let's see how many moves you can resist." At the end of his speech, Lu Lai's entire body was incomparably malevolent. The nether chi on his body overflowed into the sky. His entire person was like a peerless demon, terrifying and terrifying. In the distance, when everyone heard this, they were incomparably shocked. Just the first move was terrifying to such an extent. Then wouldn't the following moves be heaven-defying? At the same time, they were also extremely shocked by Lin Xian. To be able to block such a terrifying move, it was truly beyond their expectations. That sword technique just now was very terrifying. I guess it is very likely to be an earth-rank martial art. Otherwise, it would be impossible to block the 9 turns nether mantra. Murong Qingshu said in a deep voice. Everyone was incomparably excited. This battle was too exciting. At this moment, Lu Lai, who was at the front, shouted again. 9 turns nether mantra, second move. As he waved his hand, a pitch-black light gushed out from his palm. It carried a monstrous cold aura as if the gates of hell had opened. Boom! Demonic clouds billowed into the sky as black gas enveloped the area. The scene in front suddenly changed as if it had become a hellish scene, causing one's scalp to go numb. Then, the pitch-black demonic fog quickly surged and gradually formed a black figure. It was a human figure. It was incomparably black like black jade. On his head, there was a pair of devil horns and a pair of huge black wings on his back. Chapter 1032. The Netherworld Messenger's cold eyes were like 2 sharp swords that pierced through the void as he stared at Lin Xian. In the next moment, he quickly waved the crescent scythe in his hand and slashed down. A monstrous killing intent erupted like a flood and swept out in all directions. A pitch-black light surged like the Nether River and quickly slashed down in the void. It was as if it could split the mountains and rivers and destroy the heavens. The pitch-black energy whistled like a raging wave and formed an irresistible aura. It surged forward as if it wanted to swallow Lin Xian whole. This scene was too terrifying, causing everyone in the surroundings to cry out in alarm. Murong Qingqing's beautiful face was also extremely solemn. She had even mobilized the spiritual energy in her body and was prepared to make a move at the critical moment. Lin Xian used the illusory demon steps and continuously retreated. At the same time, the red lotus armor on his body released a demonic light. A red lotus appeared and swayed continuously, forming a force that blocked the incoming energy. At the same time, he coldly snorted. Want to kill me? Not so easy. At the very least, this bit of strength was not enough. Lin Xian's expression was cold as he quickly waved the lone star sword in his hand. Gale Lightning Sword, Dual Sword Star Annihilation. In the sky, 2 huge sword shadows formed and quickly fell down like heavenly swords. This sword directly cut the entire sky into pieces. The terrifying aura shocked everyone. The huge firmament sword shadow seemed to be able to destroy the stars in the sky. The thick sword aura directly cut the ground in half. Lin Xian waved his sword and controlled the firmament sword shadow to collide with the black crescent scythe. Suddenly, a deafening sound rang out. Endless light burst forth like a rain of light and scattered in all directions. The entire void was in a state of chaos, and countless shocking cracks were spreading out. Even Xin Yulong and the others' pupils shrank as they were shocked. In this situation, even if they went up, they would be helpless. This was because this was already the most powerful battle strength in the same realm. The 2 energies were too terrifying. Any 4th Heaven Venerables would instantly turn into ashes if they went up against them. Even 5th Heaven Venerables would not be able to hold on for long. These 2 people can be called monsters. Murong Qingshu also said in a deep voice. In front of him, Lin Xian had a cold expression and a sharp aura. He had used the second move of the Gale Lightning Sword technique to block his opponent's attack. At the same time, he did not stop moving. The long sword in his hand swung rapidly, forming the 3rd move of the Gale Lightning Sword technique. The azure blue sword moved quickly in the air, forming a very mysterious trajectory. Suddenly, the clouds in the sky changed, and another giant sword shadow quickly formed. The moment the 3rd firmament sword shadow was formed, it brought with it an earth-shattering aura as it danced swiftly in the void. This scene was too terrifying. It was as if even gods and devils had to retreat. Gale Lightning Sword, 3 swords frighten ghosts and gods. At this moment, Lin Xian also let out a ferocious roar as his arm abruptly descended. "You're courting death." Lu Lai was enraged. Originally, he thought that by taking out the 9 revolutions nether mantra, he would be able to easily kill his opponent. However, he did not expect that Lin Xian would be the same as him, possessing an earth-rank martial art. Therefore, the two of them were once again in a stalemate. And now, his opponent actually dared to take the initiative to attack. This made him furious. Taking a deep breath, Lu Lai's expression was ice-cold, and his eyes emitted a fierce light. 9 revolutions nether mantra, 3rd move. Following his furious roar, the pitch-black nether radiant emissary in front of him became even more terrifying. On the giant evil demon wings, mysterious patterns began to form, filled with a terrifying aura of death. He was like the Grim Reaper, walking on the ground. Every step he took cracked the void. The death scythe in his hand danced rapidly. Countless black rays surged, turning into boundless demonic aura that devoured everything in front of him. This was the aura of the netherworld. It could take away all life and was extremely terrifying. Everyone in the distance felt their hearts tremble. It was as if the Grim Reaper had grabbed their throats, making them unable to breathe. Even Shen Yulong's face was covered in sweat. Lin Xian was also under great pressure. The surging black fog formed a giant nether beast in the void. It roared at the sky as if it was going to devour him. Fortunately, he had the Red Lotus armor, which could withstand most of the pressure. Even so, he still felt the blood in his body churning and his bones cracking. One could imagine how terrifying his opponent was. However, his strength was also extremely powerful. With a serious expression, he quickly swung the Lone Star Sword in his hand. The 3rd Firmament Giant Sword carried an aura that could destroy gods and demons as it quickly descended. The giant sword and the giant beast clashed in the air. The momentum was terrifying, and the entire sky was drowned out. At this moment, Lu Lai's lips curled into a cruel smile. The murderous intent in his eyes grew even stronger. "Die, brat!" Following his words, the pitch-black nether radiant emissary suddenly moved. The giant evil demon wings flapped, and he disappeared on the spot in an instant. "What? So fast?" Shen Yulong was shocked, and his pupils shrank. He did not even see his opponent's movements. "Lin Xian, be careful." In the distance, Murong Qingqing also shouted a warning. Lin Xian's pupils shrank, and he activated the Red Lotus armor to the maximum. However, in the next moment, a black shadow suddenly appeared in front of him. It was so fast that he did not even have time to react. The nether radiant emissary was like the Grim Reaper. He came to Lin Xian's side and took away the boundless nether aura. He raised the death scythe in his hand and slashed it down at Lin Xian. Seeing this, everyone's hearts were in their mouths. Murong Qingqing's expression changed drastically. She did not expect the black shadow to be so fast. It was too late for her to make a move now. She could only place her hopes on Lin Xian. The nether radiant emissary in front of them waved the giant death scythe and shot out a pitch-black ray of light. A ball of black light, like a demonic light, devoured everything. It brought with it the terrifying power of death and slashed down violently. Boom! A shocking sound rang out. The void trembled, and a huge black hole was formed. It expanded rapidly and occupied half the sky. Countless rays of light were devoured by the black hole. Chapter 1033. Murong Qingqing had a murderous look on her face as she was surrounded by a boundless purple aura. Her eyes were like lightning as she stared coldly at the sky above the building. In the next moment, her body swayed and she shot up into the sky like a bolt of purple lightning. "Little girl Murong, don't be rash." The dark red divine dragon shouted, but it was too late. In an instant, Murong Qingqing was in the sky. She waved her jade-like hand and slammed it towards Lu Lai. The void trembled as a large purple palm condensed. It was like the palm of a demon god as it slammed down from the sky. This change was very sudden and everyone was stunned. Lu Lai's laughter suddenly stopped. He looked up and his pupils shrank. At the same time, he snorted and continued to use the 9 turns Netherworld mantra to control the Netherworld messenger to attack the large purple palm. An earth-shattering sound was heard as the two collided. The entire void collapsed quickly. Lu Lai took 3 steps back. He was shocked and his heart was beating wildly. This palm was too terrifying and it was beyond his expectations. Fortunately, he had the 9 turns Nether mantra, so he was able to block the attack. However, he was extremely vigilant. His eyes were like lightning as he stared coldly ahead. This collision also caused Murong Qingqing to stop. She was like a peerless fairy as she floated in the void. Her body emitted a terrifying murderous aura. Seeing that it was Murong Qingqing who attacked, Lu Lai's face darkened. He asked in a deep voice, "Fairy Murong, what do you mean? If he dies, you will be buried with him." Murong Qingqing's voice was cold, but her meaning was obvious. She wanted to avenge Lin Xian. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists were in an uproar. However, Murong Qingshu's face changed drastically. His body swayed and he also appeared in the sky. He quickly said to Murong Qingqing, "Qingqing, Brother Lu is our Murong family's distinguished guest. Moreover, this battle was originally proposed by Lin Xian. Now that his strength is inferior..." Before Murong Qingshu could finish speaking, Murong Qingqing snorted coldly. Her entire body was extremely cold. "You dare to stop my decision?" His voice was filled with dominance. "You misunderstood. That's not what I meant." Hearing those words, Murong Qingshu quickly shook his head. His complexion became extremely ugly, but he didn't dare to say anything. Even though he was the young master of Crimson Crescent City was only a branch of the Murong family. The young woman before him was the true princess of the Murong family. That status was something that even their old ancestor could not compare to, let alone him. The difference between the two of them was like heaven and earth. Therefore, he did not dare to refute Murong Qingqing's words. "Murong Qingqing, I respect you as the little princess of the Murong family, and I don't want to fight with you. But don't go too far. Do you really think that I'm afraid of you?" Lu Lai's voice was cold. He could not afford to be weak in this situation. If Murong Qingqing made a move, he would not be the only one to suffer. All the disciples of the Lu family would suffer. On the other hand, Murong Qingqing did not care about anything. She shouted, "I've said it before. If I kill him, you'll be buried with him." Following her words, the mass of purple gas became more and more dense. It was like a mass of purple fog that enveloped Murong Qingqing's delicate body. Then, a terrifying power was emitted from within her body. On the other hand, Lu Lai's expression was ferocious. He summoned the Netherworld messenger back to his side. His entire being was like a peerless demon, incomparably arrogant. Just as the two of them were about to fight, a light cough was suddenly heard from within the violent energy. Hearing this voice, Murong Qingqing's delicate body trembled. Her beautiful face revealed a joyful expression. "Lin Xian, he's fine." Indeed, in the next moment, a figure flashed and appeared beside Murong Qingqing in an instant. Lin Xian. Seeing this figure, everyone was stunned. They did not expect that Lin Xian was still alive. "What? That's impossible!" Lu Lai screamed. His eyes were filled with shock. He could not help but be shocked. That attack just now was a killing move of the 9 turns Netherworld technique. Even a 5th heaven supremacy would fall if he came. But now, Lin Xian was actually still alive. This was just too shocking. On the side, Murong Qingshu heaved a sigh of relief. He did not want to see Murong Qingqing and Lu Lai fight. "You're injured." Seeing Lin Xian covered in blood, Murong Qingqing said with heartache, "I've made you worry. Leave the rest to me." Lin Xian had blood on the corner of his mouth, but his eyes were abnormally bright. "All right." Murong Qingqing nodded. She turned around and floated down. Since Lin Xian was still alive, she would not attack again. After all, this was a battle between men. After Murong Qingqing left, Murong Qingshu also quickly left. Only Lin Xian and Lu Lai were left in the sky. "Oof, you're really lucky. You're still alive?" Lu Lai's voice was ferocious. "It's not that easy to take my life," Lin Xian said coldly. Fortunately, he had the Red Lotus armor to protect him. Otherwise, that attack would have taken his life. You're the first person to injure me so badly. So, you have to pay the price. Lin Xian held the Lone Star Sword tightly and looked straight ahead. You're fine because you're lucky. Let's see if you can survive this time. Lu Lai's expression was ferocious. In the next moment, the spiritual energy in his body surged. The demonic clouds behind him tumbled, and he became terrifying and violent again. The netherworld messenger beside him flapped his demon wings. Like a black lightning bolt, he quickly charged toward Lin Xian. Last time, this was the move that seriously injured Lin Xian. So, when everyone saw this move again, they were nervous and paid close attention. On the other hand, Lin Xian's expression was cold. He waved the Lone Star Sword in his hand again. Gale Lightning Sword, Fourth Sword, Earthquake Sky. This time, Lin Xian directly used the fourth sword of the Gale Lightning Sword. Moreover, he held the huge firmament sword shadow in his hand and swept it out. With a swing of the sword, the sky and earth lost their color. The sword shadow released a blinding light that was even more dazzling than the sun. It quickly slashed through the void. Rumble! The entire sky shattered as if someone had flipped it over. The terrifying sword radiance destroyed everything. The netherworld messenger had nowhere to hide and was instantly enveloped by the sword. The entire sky was bright as if countless suns were shining at the same time. The crowd couldn't help but scream. They covered their eyes and frantically retreated. The radiance was too sharp. It was like thousands of sword radiances were scattered in all directions. It was so bright that no one could open their eyes. When the radiance in the sky disappeared, the crowd only dared to open their eyes. They then quickly looked toward the sky. They happened to see the last scene. The netherworld messenger with the demon horns on his head and the black demon wings on his back quickly disintegrated. He turned into black gas and scattered in the sky. Lu Lai was also hit by the terrifying sword radiance. He spat out a mouthful of blood and flew backward. Chapter 1034. Lu Lai screamed crazily. He couldn't believe that his opponent could still injure him when he used the third move of the 9 turns nether mantra. This was completely out of his expectations. The disciples of the Lu family below saw this scene and screamed in agony. Everyone's face was filled with horror. Lin Xian was too powerful, so powerful that they were terrified. Under everyone's horrified gaze, Lin Xian moved quickly and rushed forward. After severely injuring Lu Lai with one strike, Lin Xian moved his body and transformed into a beam of sword aura, quickly dashing forward. Lin Xian wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity to take his life while he was down. Lu Lai kept retreating, his tall body covered in blood. He roared at the sky and his black hair danced wildly. His eyes were filled with fear and anger. Shocking, it was too shocking. He didn't expect that he would still be seriously injured after using his last trump card. When he saw Lin Xian rushing over, his pupils shrank. He twisted his body and used the 9 turns nether mantra to stop himself. At the same time, the nether chi behind him surged and formed a pair of black demonic wings that carried him quickly. Lin Xian let out a long roar and formed a pair of thunderstorm wings behind him. Strange runes flowed on them and the wings flapped, increasing his speed to the extreme. The combination of the thunderstorm wings and the illusory demonic steps allowed him to catch up with Lu Lai in an instant. Seeing the figure close by, Lu Lai's face changed and a hint of madness appeared in his eyes. 9 turns nether mantra, the fourth move. With his current strength, he could only use the first 3 moves of the 9 turns nether mantra. His body couldn't withstand the nether chi if he used the fourth move. However, the situation didn't allow him to think too much. He had to dodge Lin Xian's attack first. Therefore, he gritted his teeth and prepared to use the fourth move of the 9 turns nether mantra. However, just as he was about to use it, Lin Xian's long sword slashed down quickly. The terrifying sword chi tore through the void, forcibly interrupting his cultivation method. Boom! Lu Lai didn't have a defense as strong as Lin Xian's, so he was heavily injured by the sword and fell to the ground. "Ah, brat, you dare to hurt me? I'll kill you!" Lu Lai roared madly. In the battle between the two, Lin Xian once again gained the upper hand and suppressed her. She simply couldn't tolerate it. However, so what if he couldn't endure it? The current him couldn't withstand Lin Xian's swordsmanship at all. Just as he was roaring madly, a huge sword shadow formed above him and quickly slashed towards him. This sword was too terrifying. It contained the terrifying power of an earth-tier martial art. In an instant, it tore open the sky and ruthlessly enveloped Lu Lai. No! Seeing this, the countless sons of the Lu clan howled madly. Their eyes were filled with fear and despair. Lu Lai's pupils shrank as the fear of death rose in his heart. At this critical moment, he desperately burned his spirit energy and activated the 9 turns nether mantra. The black devil wings on his back flapped and the runes on them shone brightly. He forcefully moved horizontally. However, Lin Xian obviously didn't intend to let him go. His black hair fluttered in the wind like a sword god. He stretched out a huge palm of light that quickly formed and grabbed the firmament sword shadow. Then, he slashed in Lu Lai's direction again. Boom! The entire void exploded once again. This sword strike shattered all the surrounding mountains, and a 1,000-mile-long crack appeared on the ground. Although Lu Lai had the devil wings, he still couldn't escape from the sword chi. His left arm was slashed by the violent firmament sword shadow and was directly cut off. Blood splattered everywhere. This scene was too shocking. It directly stunned everyone. Chapter 1035. Not only that, the 9 turns nether mantra was forcefully interrupted, causing him to suffer from the backlash of his cultivation technique. He suffered severe internal injuries. Even the spiritual energy in his body was unable to circulate smoothly. It could be said that Lu Lai was extremely weak due to internal and external troubles. On the other hand, Lin Xian became more and more courageous as the battle progressed. The art of longevity in his body had a powerful recovery and circulation ability, giving him an endless supply of spiritual energy. The Great Dragon Sword Soul also allowed Lin Xian's combat strength to reach its peak. Therefore, Lin Xian was like a sword god at this moment, unstoppable. Another sword strike landed heavily on Lu Lai's body. Immediately, a sword mark appeared on his body. One could clearly see the deep white bones and churned flesh. Lu Lai went completely crazy. He ignored the consequences and swung his right fist to fight against Lin Xian. The nether spirit pulsed and wrapped around his fist, forming a strange force that resisted Lin Xian's sword energy. The two of them exchanged a few moves. Lin Xian's sword energy became sharper and sharper. He swung his sword 5 times in a row, all of which landed on Lu Lai's fist. Immediately, the powerful nether spirit's fire was extinguished by the sharp sword light. Seeing this, Lu Lai was shocked and despair appeared in his eyes. That was the nether spirit's fire. It was the most powerful flame he could create by burning his spiritual energy. However, it couldn't stop Lin Xian's sword energy. He couldn't believe it and turned to flee. Lin Xian's aura was too strong now. He couldn't resist at all. However, Lin Xian was faster than him. Just as Lu Lai made his move, Lin Xian quickly unleashed his Ice Lotus martial soul. A strong icy power enveloped the area, instantly slowing down Lu Lai's speed. Streaks of blue icy aura surged, forming countless frost, as if they were about to freeze him. Damn it, get out of my way! Lu Lai was extremely angry. He quickly burned his spiritual energy and formed the nether spirit's fire to resist the ice. However, what awaited him was another sharp sword light. This sword light drew a strange arc in the air and quickly chopped at his right arm. Suddenly, a powerful light burst out. With a blood-curdling scream, Lu Lai's right arm was chopped off again. Blood gushed out and dyed the sky red. Ah! Lu Lai let out a blood-curdling scream. Both of his arms had been chopped off. It could be said that he had completely lost his ability to fight. If he didn't have a heaven-defying elixir, it would be impossible for him to recover his arms with his current cultivation. In other words, he would become a cripple in the future. This was worse than killing him. Everyone was shocked once again. Their eyes were filled with fear. The powerful Lu Lai had lost an arm again. This was too terrifying. They knew that Lu Lai had lost. Not only had he lost this battle, but he had also lost his future. A cultivator without arms was like a tiger without claws and teeth. It was likely that Lu Lai would fall from the ranks of geniuses in the future. He might even be worse than an ordinary person. Murong Qingqing's lips curled upwards. She knew that Lin Xian had won this battle. No! In the sky, Lu Lai let out an unwilling roar. As if he had gone mad, he quickly burned all of the spirit energy in his body, and even his blood began to burn. Brat, I'm going to kill you! Lu Lai's voice was so loud that it shook the 9 heavens. It was like a demon, causing one's scalp to go numb. Under his desperate urging, the chi of the netherworld around him grew more and more, and then quickly enveloped him. A pitch-black netherworld armor quickly formed and covered Lu Lai's entire body. 2 ghostly claws formed where his arms had been chopped off. It was pitch black and extremely terrifying. Chapter 1036. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. They didn't dare to believe it because they had seen with their own eyes how Lu Lai wanted to die together with his opponent. It was too terrifying. Even a 5th-level venerable wouldn't be able to resist it. However, Lu Lai was dead, and Lin Xian was fine. What exactly happened? Lu Lai used such a powerful move and was still killed. What kind of martial arts did Lin Xian use? Everyone was puzzled and disgusted. They knew that all of this had happened when the world of ice was formed. However, none of them could see the situation inside clearly. They only knew that Lu Lai had been split in half. Lu Lai's death caused a great shock to everyone. They didn't expect that such a battle between the top young geniuses would end like this. That was Lu Lai. He was a top genius and had many trump cards in his hand. In the end, he even used an Earth-rank martial art. However, he was still killed here. Everyone looked at Lin Xian in the sky with reverence. Shen Yulong and the 6th-level alchemist beside him had gloomy expressions. Their eyes were filled with shock. They felt like they were dreaming. They didn't dare to believe what had happened. Especially Shen Yulong. His entire body was trembling slightly. One had to know that Lu Lai was an expert who was on par with him. However, he had been killed. Didn't this mean that even he wasn't a match for Lin Xian? The cold 6th-level alchemist's expression was even more ferocious. He clenched his fists tightly and roared in his heart. Not only was Lin Xian's talent in alchemy better than his, but his battle prowess was also heaven-defying. He could even kill top geniuses. This made him extremely jealous and terrified. Murong Qingshu was silent. He was extremely shocked. Previously, he had never placed Lin Xian in his eyes. He thought that Lin Xian was just borrowing Murong Qingqing's strength. Now, it seemed that he was gravely mistaken. Regardless of talent or battle prowess, Lin Xian was a top existence in the younger generation. This caused a trace of fear to appear in his heart. Even Murong Qingqing's eyes flickered. Lin Xian's methods had indeed exceeded her expectations. The disciples of the Lu family below were wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. They couldn't accept the fact that their family's top experts had been killed here. Lu Chang's legs trembled as he looked at Lin Xian. He really didn't expect that this young man, who was inferior to him a month ago, would now be able to kill the top genius of his family. Looking at that figure, a deep sense of despair rose in his heart. Lu Lai's death not only alarmed the surrounding younger generation, but also the big shots. After all, Lu Lai's identity was special. He was a genius of the Lu clan, and the Lu clan was one of the 8 great clans under young Master Ling Feng. Furthermore, Lu Lai's younger sister had become young Master Ling Feng's woman. He was afraid that if the other party knew about Lu Lai's matter, they would not let the matter rest. Given Sir Ling Feng's methods, killing Lin Xian was as easy as flipping his palm. Even if Lin Xian had the backing of the Immortal Martial Academy, he wouldn't be able to survive. However, those big shots didn't say anything. Lin Xian's current status and talent didn't allow them to say anything. Ancestor Qiyu sighed. Looking at the figure in the sky, his eyes flickered. In the end, he said in a low voice, "Send the remaining disciples of the Lu clan out." He couldn't control Lu Lai's death. After all, both parties were willing to duel. He had no right to interfere. However, he still had to protect the remaining disciples. Otherwise, Lu Jia wouldn't let them off if all the Lu clan members in Crimson Crescent City died. Looking at the retreating disciples, Lin Xian's expression was cold. He didn't make a move, because these people didn't have the qualifications to make him do anything. However, the surrounding crowd was silent. They knew that the Lu clan wouldn't let the matter rest. Lin Xian looked at the corpse in front of him coldly. Then, with a wave of his hand, the corpse's storage ring flew into his hand. Since he had already become enemies with the Lu clan, he wouldn't return their storage ring. With Lu Lai's status, there should be a lot of treasures inside. Just the value of the Black Dragon Bow alone was enough to shock the world. Moreover, Lin Xian guessed that the storage ring might contain the 9 turns nether mantra. One had to know that it was a true earth-tier unbounded mantra. Its value was immeasurable. Seeing Lin Xian's action, the surrounding crowd was filled with greed and envy. However, no one dared to say anything. Even the big shots didn't say anything. The dark red divine dragon was unusually excited. He waved his dragon claws and jumped up excitedly. However, in the next moment, his expression changed drastically. He shouted with all his might, "Kid, be careful." Actually, Lin Xian already felt the danger. The 1,000 Beast Cauldron's weapon spirit in his body suddenly issued a warning. In the next moment, he felt a shocking killing intent enveloping him. The moment Zero warned him, Lin Xian had already used the illusory demon steps and retreated to the side. However, he still underestimated his opponent's speed. Fast, it was too fast. It wasn't even any weaker than his illusory demon steps. This made him extremely shocked. One had to know that his illusory demon steps was also an earth-tier martial art. Its speed was extremely fast. Even a 5th-level Venerable Realm expert might not be able to catch up. However, his opponent was able to keep up with his speed. This made him extremely shocked. It was obvious that his opponent had an earth-tier martial art movement technique. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to catch up to him. A cold light flashed in the air. It was like the cold moonlight, carrying a biting cold killing intent. Then, a figure quickly approached Lin Xian like a ghost. At the same time, the cold moonlight in the sky quickly slashed down at Lin Xian. Seeing this scene, everyone's hearts trembled. Even Xin Yulong and Murong Qingshu's expressions changed drastically. This attack was too fast. Even they couldn't dodge it. Boom! The red lotus armor on Lin Xian's body bloomed with light, forming the most solid defense. In the next moment, the cold light ruthlessly slashed on the armor, emitting the sound of metal clashing. Blood splattered everywhere. It was abnormally glaring. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be injured. One had to know that even Lu Lai couldn't break through the armor. However, someone was actually able to break through the armor's defense. Lin Xian's pupils abruptly shrank as he rapidly retreated. His heart was filled with intense shock. His opponent was actually able to cut through his red lotus armor. This was too shocking. His armor was extremely strong. Even in the battle with Lu Lai, it didn't shatter. However, his opponent had cut through his defense and injured him. Shocking, he was truly shocked. The longevity art in his body quickly circulated, and the wound on his chest stopped bleeding. However, the cold air forever shrouded everyone's hearts. Just as Lin Xian quickly retreated, another cold light flashed and quickly slashed at his throat. It was as if it wanted to cut off his head. Chapter 1037. A figure appeared in the sky with a machete in his hand. Like the god of death, he quickly slashed at Lin Xian. Fast, too fast. The attack was so fast that no one could react in time. In an instant, the person was already in front of Lin Xian. The machete in his hand rose and fell rapidly. The blade was as cold as autumn water. The terrifying cold light carried boundless killing intent as if it was going to cut off Lin Xian's head. The crowd was shocked. They did not expect such a thing to happen. Just as Lin Xian had won the battle with Lu Lai, someone actually wanted to kill Lin Xian. Moreover, what made them even more shocked was that this person was too terrifying. That kind of terrifying murderous aura, that decisive move, and that one-hit kill posture showed that this person was definitely a terrifying assassin. With Lin Xian's current state and the sudden attack, there was no way he could dodge it. Murong Qingqing's expression changed drastically. She waved her jade-like hand and struck out a large purple palm. She grabbed at the sky in an attempt to stop the assassin. However, the opponent was too fast. Even if she attacked now, she would not be able to resolve the crisis. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed as well. This streak of light was far too sharp, and it had sealed off all of his paths of retreat, leaving him with nowhere to hide. Obviously, the opponent was a top-notch assassin. Moreover, everything was planned. At the critical moment, he roared and held the Lone Star sword tightly. He bent his body slightly and quickly stabbed out. Since he could not dodge, he would attack quickly. He would use offense as defense to resolve the crisis. Seeing this, the crowd gasped. At the same time, they were shocked by Lin Xian's decisiveness. In such a situation where death was certain, even a fifth-rank supremacy would be scared out of his wits. However, Lin Xian thought of using offense as defense to resolve the crisis. He was too bold. However, this was the only way to survive. A ray of sword light flashed. Like a shooting star, it quickly streaked across the sky. At the critical moment, Lin Xian used the heavenly meteor. Its speed was extremely fast and extremely sharp. Clang! The saber and the sword clashed and streaked across the void, creating countless sparks that illuminated the surroundings. This sword strike happened to hit the opponent's blade, causing it to deviate from its trajectory. However, the long blade still slid past Lin Xian's face, and the cold aura caused all the hair on his body to stand on end. But fortunately, he dodged this killing move. The surrounding crowd was in an uproar. They continuously cried out in alarm because this saber strike was too dangerous and too exciting. They didn't expect that Lin Xian would be able to safely dodge the fatal blow. In the air, Lin Xian let out a long howl and quickly turned around. Sword chi surged from his hand. Then, he slashed out with his sword, and a sword chi as thick as a mountain instantly slashed forward. Assassin, he met another assassin. He didn't expect that the other party would dare to make a move at this time. It was obvious that the other party wanted to kill him. Therefore, he did not hesitate at all and quickly attacked, wanting to kill his opponent. Fortunately, Zero had warned him. Otherwise, he would have been in danger today. The huge blood-red sword chi slashed forward like a long river of blood. The other party displayed a terrifying movement technique and quickly dodged the sword. However, the two assassins were forced to reveal their figures by Lin Xian. They were two people in black. They wore bronze masks on their faces and their faces couldn't be seen clearly. However, one could tell from their figures that they were a man and a woman. Both of them held crescent-shaped sabers in their hands. Their bodies exuded a cold, murderous aura, as if they were gods of death from hell. They didn't tangle with Lin Xian. At the same time, endless ice energy quickly entered the assassin's body, constantly bombarding him. The assassin in black's expression changed. In an instant, the machete in his hand and his entire arm were eroded by the cold air. A thick layer of frost formed, as if it was going to freeze his entire body. With a low shout, endless rays of light burst out from his body, quickly resisting the cold air. At the same time, he quickly retreated and fled into the distance. There was no other way. Lin Xian was too powerful. That kind of attack was terrifying. He had no chance of winning if he faced it head-on. Moreover, as an assassin, he was better at moving in the dark and killing with one strike. Chapter 1038. However, he clearly underestimated Lin Xian's anger. Lin Xian was almost killed by the other party, so how could he let these people go? The wind and thunder wings on his back flapped quickly, and the power of wind and thunder poured into Lin Xian's body, allowing him to move like a gust of wind and lightning, arriving in front of the black-clothed man in an instant. The Lone Star sword in his hand emitted a cold light, and the sword blade quickly grew to a length of 100 feet, like a giant dragon, and slashed down. This sword was too terrifying, and the entire sky exploded. The huge sword blade carried an incomparably terrifying battle strength, and quickly enveloped the black-clothed man. The black-clothed man's body trembled. He was simply unable to fight against Lin Xian head-on. In the next moment, he was hit by the Ice Lotus martial soul, and the Earth Blood Marshal's soul flew out. This was not the end. Lin Xian activated the Ice Lotus Martial Soul, and an endless amount of ice chi bloomed, forming a large ice hand that grabbed at the black-clothed man. "Speak, what organization are you from? Who the hell sent you here?" Lin Xian's voice was cold, and the killing intent on his body was not any weaker than these assassins. He was simply too angry. Looking at the movement skills of these assassins, they were the same as those who tried to assassinate him before. They should be from the same organization. It seemed like someone really wanted to kill him, and had not given up until now. The surrounding people were also shocked. They did not expect that someone would dare to kill Lin Xian. Moreover, it was during the Crimson Crescent City's banquet. The black-clothed assassin coldly harumphed and did not say anything. Boundless saber light burst out from his body and fused with the scimitar in his hand. He quickly slashed out, breaking the ice wall in front of him and quickly escaping. Not answering? Don't think about leaving today. Behind him, Lin Xian's expression was cold. He quickly waved the 100-feet-long Lone Star sword and slashed forward again. The ground cracked, and countless mountains were cut in half. The terrifying sword chi swept out in all directions, and countless cracks appeared on the ground. However, these sword chi did not directly slash at the black-clothed man, but at his side, surrounding him. Countless huge sword chi crisscrossed like a wall of sword chi, completely surrounding the black-clothed assassin. In the next moment, Lin Xian arrived in front of the black-clothed assassin. He activated his Ice Lotus Martial Soul and quickly formed ice chains, trapping the assassin. "I'll give you one last chance. Tell me, who sent you here? Also, what organization are you from?" The black-clothed assassin was bound by the ice chains and hung in the air. The spiritual energy in his body had been completely frozen, and he had no ability to resist at all. However, even so, he still did not answer Lin Xian's interrogation. Instead, he laughed arrogantly. "Ha, so what if you are powerful? You will be killed by us sooner or later." The black-clothed assassin grinned. Then, the spiritual energy in his body burned rapidly. His body expanded and exploded with a bang. That terrifying energy instantly rushed towards Lin Xian. On the other hand, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He swung the Lone Star sword in his hand and slashed out countless sharp sword chi, completely annihilating the violent energy. Then, his face turned completely gloomy. The assassin would rather self-destruct than reveal any information. This made his heart extremely gloomy. It seemed that the assassin's organization must be extremely strict and mysterious. Otherwise, such a situation would not have happened. Self-destruct, right? Very well, I don't believe that you can keep self-destructing. Lin Xian's cold eyes swept across the area like lightning. When the surrounding people saw this, they were dumbfounded. This assassin was too terrifying. He took the initiative to self-destruct and did not answer any questions. Anyone who encountered such a situation would be helpless. Murong Qingqing's face was also gloomy. Her eyes flickered as she looked at the aftermath of the self-destruction and fell into deep thought. There were not many organizations that could send out such a powerful assassin, and even fewer that could act so decisively and ruthlessly. As far as I know, only the Chasing Assassin organization would use such methods. Lin Xian, they are very likely to be from the Chasing Assassin organization. Murong Qingqing quickly reminded him. Chasing Assassin. Hearing this, everyone cried out in alarm. All of them had terrified expressions. Of course, they had heard of this assassin organization because it was a very terrifying organization. They were simply a group of demons because anyone who was targeted by them would eventually die. Just by hearing the name of the assassin organization, one could tell that the Chasing Assassin organization would not give up until they killed their target. Once, a peerless expert at the 8th heaven of the Venerable Realm was targeted by the Chasing Assassin organization and issued a kill order. At that time, everyone thought that it was impossible to accomplish because the 8th heaven of the Venerable Realm was too terrifying. The 8th heaven powerhouse was even more disdainful. He was powerful and did not fear any assassin organization at all. However, in the end, he still died. His blood dyed the sky as he was hacked into dozens of pieces. Because of that battle, the chasing assassin organization sent out 49 top-notch assassins to chase after the 8th heaven of the Venerable Realm and finally killed him. After that battle, the chasing assassin organization was completely remembered by everyone, because no one who was targeted by them could survive, including peerless experts. And now, such a terrifying assassin organization was actually chasing after Lin Xian. This was too shocking. Everyone looked at Lin Xian with different expressions because they knew that Lin Xian would not have any way to survive after being targeted by the chasing assassin organization. Even if he could escape this time, he would not be able to stop the next assassination, endlessly and without rest, until death. Hearing this news, Lin Xian's face turned gloomy. He did not expect such a terrifying organization to come after him. At the same time, his heart turned cold. Who was so vicious to issue such a wanted order? His eyes were cold and his gaze was like lightning as he quickly scanned the surroundings, trying to find the other assassin. However, the other party had completely merged into the void and hid his body. He did not even release a trace of his aura. The sky was terrifyingly quiet for a moment. Only the terrifying smell of blood quietly spread. Did he escape? Everyone was puzzled. They looked around but they could not see anyone at all. He should have left. If these assassins don't kill him, they will escape thousands of miles away. They will not have a direct confrontation with Lin Xian. However, this was also why these people were so terrifying. Because you would never know when they would target you. Perhaps when you were sleeping, you would not be able to see the next day's sun. These people were like shadows that followed the body until they successfully killed the target. The group of people discussed spiritedly, their nerves were very serious. Murong Qingshu also sighed. Many of the targets targeted by the chasing assassin organization were not killed. Instead, they were forced to break down by the tense atmosphere and chose to die. As for Xin Yulong and the 6th grade pill inscription master, they sneered. This was undoubtedly good news for them. Originally, Lin Xian's talent made them fearful. Now, someone had come to kill Lin Xian. This made them very happy. Moreover, the one chasing after Lin Xian was actually the chasing assassin organization. This made them even more excited because they knew that Lin Xian was really dead this time. Chapter 1039. However, just when everyone thought that the assassination was over, there was another change in the sky. 4 assassins suddenly appeared from 4 different directions and quickly rushed toward Lin Xian. Each of them held a long saber that was curved like a crescent moon. They quickly slashed out cold lights, completely sealing off Lin Xian's escape route. 4 black-clothed assassins appeared from 4 different directions and rushed toward Lin Xian, completely sealing off Lin Xian's escape route. These 4 people were abnormally powerful. None of them was weaker than the black-clothed assassin from before. Back then, that black-clothed assassin had almost killed Lin Xian, so one could see how terrifying he was. With 4 assassins of the same level attacking at the same time, he was in an extremely dangerous situation. Even a 5th heaven venerable would be killed in an instant. The others were even more shocked. They originally thought that the matter was over, but they did not expect such a shocking change to happen. It was obvious that the Chasing Life organization was determined to kill Lin Xian. Otherwise, they would not have sent so many experts. There was no suspense in this situation. No matter who the 4 peerless assassins faced, they would definitely die. No matter how strong Lin Xian was, he could not escape. Therefore, in everyone's opinion, Lin Xian was dead for sure this time. There was no chance for him to escape. However, Lin Xian did not show much panic. Instead, a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. This was because he had been warned by Zero and was already prepared for this attack. Therefore, he was not surprised by the sudden appearance of the 4 assassins. The longevity secret art in his body quickly circulated. He frantically absorbed the surrounding spiritual energy. At the same time, he took out the red lotus gloves and wore them on his fists. Facing 4 peerless assassins, he had 2 cards to deal with them. One was the Great Dragon Sword Soul, and the other was the Red Lotus Gloves. However, he did not want to expose the Great Dragon Sword Soul in front of everyone for the time being, so he took out the Red Lotus Gloves. Another reason was that although the Red Lotus gloves consumed a lot of spiritual energy, it was still better than the Great Dragon Sword Soul. Moreover, it only consumed spiritual energy, unlike the Great Dragon Sword Soul which consumed spiritual energy and soul power. Moreover, Lin Xian believed that the Red Lotus gloves could solve the problem at hand. Lin Xian coldly snorted as the bright red gloves covered his fists. He quickly swung his fists. This punch was aimed at an assassin in front of him. A terrifying red fist shadow gushed out like a red savage beast. It was extremely terrifying. The assassin in front couldn't dodge at all. In an instant he was hit by the red fist shadow. Then, his body split open and turned into a bloody mist. From the punch to the black-clothed assassin exploding, the entire process happened in an instant. This kind of attack power was too terrifying, directly shocking everyone. Even the assassins in the other three directions were frowning. They didn't expect their target to be so terrifying that he could easily kill their companion. However, the three of them did not stop. Instead, they charged towards Lin Xian at an even faster speed. They didn't believe that Lin Xian could kill all three of them at the same time. As long as one of them made a move, the other party would definitely be killed. That way, their mission would be completed. Therefore, the three of them shouted coldly and sped up again. The three full moon scimitars danced in the air, and a terrifying blade light swept in all directions. Although they saw their companion die with their own eyes, it didn't affect them at all. The three attacks were still very fierce, slashing towards Lin Xian's vital points. It had to be said that these three assassins were very powerful. Moreover, it could be seen how terrifying this group was. It was no wonder that everyone's expression changed when they heard this name. Lin Xian immediately snorted when he sensed the terrifying killing intent from the other three directions. With his current strength, he probably couldn't swing the Red Lotus fist 3 times. Therefore, he had to kill them in one hit. Otherwise, his situation would become dangerous. However, under normal circumstances, it was obviously impossible to kill 3 peerless assassins. Even if he had the Red Lotus gloves, he had to swing it 3 times. Not to mention whether Lin Xian could swing it 3 times, the problem of time alone couldn't be solved. Because the 3 of them were too fast, he probably only had the chance to swing it once. However, Lin Xian wasn't worried at all. Instead, he smiled coldly. This was because the Red Lotus gloves weren't his only trump card. Circulating the spiritual power in his body, Lin Xian quickly performed the Blood Shadow Doppelganger from the Blood Sword Inheritance. He used all of his qi and blood to create an identical doppelganger. Then, his real body performed the heaven-changing technique and quickly hid in the void. Lin Xian used the 2 ultimate techniques at the same time, causing him to disappear into the void in an instant. His doppelganger remained where he was, acting as bait. Lin Xian was very confident because both the Blood Shadow Doppelganger and the heaven-changing technique were very mysterious. He believed that these assassins wouldn't be able to discover them. As expected, the 3 assassins didn't notice anything unusual and continued to rush over. The 3 of them were very fast, so they arrived beside the doppelganger in an instant. Then, the 3 scimitars quickly slashed down. One of them slashed towards Lin Xian's chest, another at his throat, and the third at his head. These 3 blades were all aimed at Lin Xian's vital points. They wanted to kill him in one hit. The blades slashed across his body and blood splattered. The smell of blood quickly spread. Seeing the blood, the 3 assassins in black revealed cruel smiles. The people below were shocked. They didn't expect that Lin Xian didn't dodge and was still killed. Murong Qingshu's eyes flickered. He didn't say anything, but he was obviously relieved. Shen Yulong and the 6th grade alchemy master revealed cruel smiles. Lin Xian's death was only beneficial to them. Moreover, the threat that Lin Xian posed to them while he was still alive was simply too great, causing them to be extremely fearful. Now that Lin Xian was killed by the assassins of the life-chasing organization, they could finally breathe a sigh of relief. On the other hand, Murong Qingshan screamed as her expression changed drastically. Her body slowed down as she tried to rush up as well. This time, the dark red dragon was quick. He stopped her and quickly transmitted a message. "Little girl, Don't worry. That's just a doppelganger. Hearing the dark red dragon's explanation, Murong Qingqing was relieved. However, her beautiful eyes were still staring at the sky. In the sky, the doppelganger quickly split open and blood splattered everywhere. The three assassins in black stood in front of the doppelganger and looked at the scene expressionlessly. In the next moment, the void above them suddenly fluctuated. A figure appeared above them and quickly punched. What? Lin Xian? Isn't he dead? Seeing this scene, everyone was completely stunned. They didn't expect that Lin Xian was still alive. Moreover, he appeared above the three assassins in black. But if Lin Xian is alive, who is the dead one? Everyone was stunned. They couldn't understand because the sky was filled with blood. Chapter 1040. Damn it, it's a clone. Let's go. One of them bellowed and quickly turned around. The other two felt their scalps tingle as they fled into the distance. You want to leave? Don't you think it's too late? Since you dare to kill me, you can all stay here. Lin Xian sneered, and then the terrifying red lotus fist shadow quickly fell. Boom! The sky was filled with red light, and a terrifying power surged down, piercing through the void. The sky was like a wave that kept shaking. In the end, the three assassins did not manage to escape and were all blasted into a bloody mist by the punch. After killing the three assassins, Lin Xian had completely broken through the situation of certain death. He stood in the void and looked around coldly. At the same time, an ice lotus appeared above his head and quickly absorbed the spiritual energy in the surroundings to replenish his exhausted physical strength. Looking at this scene, everyone was shocked. It couldn't be helped, it was too shocking. The four top experts had used their strongest killing move to kill Lin Xian, but they were all killed by Lin Xian in the blink of an eye. Even a fifth heaven honorable realm expert could not do this, but Lin Xian did it. One had to know that Lin Xian was only a fourth heaven honorable realm expert, but he relied on his powerful methods and trump cards to kill the four top assassins. This could no longer be described as shocking, it could be called a miracle. After dealing with the four assassins, Lin Xian stood in the void. The ice lotus martial soul above his head spun quickly, absorbing the spiritual energy in the surroundings to replenish his exhausted physical strength. He was not careless, but his expression was solemn because the battle was not over yet. He had already killed 5 of the assassins who came to kill him, but there was still one assassin left, the female assassin who had almost pierced his heart. At this moment, the female assassin was trapped by the array set up by the dark red divine dragon and could not escape for the time being. However, it seemed that the array would not be able to trap her for long, and she would probably break out soon. However, this period of time was enough for Lin Xian to recover his physical strength. The black-clothed female assassin naturally knew what was happening in the outside world, and her face became very ugly. With a shout, she waved the scimitar in her hand and quickly slashed out a blade light. The saber chi was shocking. It tore through the sky and slashed forward rapidly. She didn't hold back this time. Instead, she used her full strength. She had no choice but to fight for her life. Lin Xian had killed her companion, so he would definitely make a move on her in the next moment. This time, they had misjudged the target's strength and caused a huge loss. Therefore, no matter what, she had to send the news back. In the sky, the horrifying saber radiance slashed on the array and tore a crack in it. Seeing this scene, the black-clothed female assassin's face lit up. Her body turned into a ray of light and instantly rushed out. "We've finally gotten rid of this damned formation." The female assassin turned around and glared at the dark red divine dragon with cold eyes. This abominable red snake was not very strong, but its methods were extremely strange. Especially the formation it had set up, it was actually able to trap her. This caused her to be extremely shocked. One had to know that her movement technique was extremely strange, and she did not fear any punishment formation or illusory formation. However, this movement technique was ineffective in front of her opponent. If it wasn't for her powerful strength, she would not have been able to break out of the formation. However, before she could catch her breath, she was greeted by a stunning saber radiance. The saber chi was like a rainbow. It shook the sky and quickly slashed towards her. The horrifying saber radiance spread downwards and instantly tore the ground apart. A mountain peak was cut in half. Feeling the shocking saber chi, the black-clothed female assassin's expression changed drastically. She quickly used her movement technique and shuttled through the sky like a fish. At the same time, she waved the scimitar in her hand and slashed out a crescent saber radiance to resist the saber radiance. The sound of an intense collision was heard and sparks flew everywhere. It was as if two huge metal mountains had collided. The surrounding people's eardrums trembled and blood flowed from the corners of their mouths. This attack was too terrifying. Even the aftershock was not something they could withstand. After the attack, the black-clothed female assassin screamed and was sent flying by the sharp saber chi. Her eyes were filled with shock. However, in the next moment, a sneer appeared at the corner of her mouth. With the help of this horrifying force, she used a very strange movement technique and quickly escaped into the distance. It seemed that her goal was very clear. She did not want to fight with Lin Xian, but to quickly leave. However, Lin Xian was clearly enraged. He did not give her a chance to leave. The ice lotus under his feet spun. Streaks of icy chi surged and quickly merged into the sky. Then, in the distant sky, countless icicles quickly formed and intercepted the black-clothed female assassin. At the same time, Lin Xian used the illusory demonic steps. Together with the thunderstorm wings behind him, he quickly chased after her. The sky trembled. Countless icicles formed in the sky like the teeth of a ferocious beast. They were very sharp and pierced towards the female assassin. These icicles were very terrifying. Moreover, there were many of them. They were densely packed and filled the entire sky. However, the black-clothed female assassin's figure fluttered like a ghost. She quickly flickered and dodged the icicles one after another. Then, her body gradually faded as if she was going to disappear between heaven and earth. Everyone watched in a daze. Even Xin Yulong and Murong Qingshu had grave expressions. It was because the opponent's movement technique was too strange. Not only was her speed extremely fast, but it was also unexpected. Every time, she was able to narrowly avoid the attacks. This was definitely not something that could be done with an ordinary movement technique. Rumor has it that the reason why the life-chasing organization is so terrifying is not only because of their decisive killing method, but also because they seem to have grasped an extremely powerful movement technique. That movement technique allows them to not be afraid of being besieged. It increases their chances of escaping with their lives and also greatly increases their chances of assassination. I have only heard of it before. Now, it seems that the rumors are true. This movement technique is probably an Earth-tier martial art. Murong Qingshu sighed. Perhaps only an Earth-tier movement technique could achieve such an effect. Lin Xian's expression was also grave. He realized that the opponent's movement technique was definitely not weaker than the illusory demonic steps. It was obviously an Earth-tier movement technique. Fortunately, he also had an Earth-tier movement technique. Moreover, he had the assistance of the thunderstorm wings, which allowed his speed to reach an unimaginable level. Otherwise, if it was someone else, they would probably not be able to catch up to this black-clothed female assassin. With a cold snort, Lin Xian opened his 5 fingers and grabbed forward. The concept of wind merged with the ice and quickly attacked, shattering the entire void. At the same time, he waved his long sword and urged the great dragon sword soul to form an indestructible sword chi, which quickly slashed forward. Lin Xian used the spring sword for this sword. The sword light was like a continuous spring rain, pitter-patter, completely covering the entire void. Even if the opponent's movement technique was strange, it was impossible for her to ignore this kind of attack. As expected, under Lin Xian's crazy attack, the black-clothed female assassin was shaken out of her body and was forced to retreat. Chapter 1041. Her opponent's methods were too terrifying, especially the ice and sword chi. Not only did the terrifying ice obstruct her, but the cold chi also froze her body, causing her movement technique to be much slower than usual. The sword chi was even more terrifying. Every strike could split mountains, split rivers, and shatter the void. She did not dare to resist at all. That was because she knew that as long as she was hit, she would have no chance of survival. The sword chi in the sky pierced through the clouds, and the entire sky was filled with waves of sword light. The black-clothed female assassin was like a black boat, shuttling through the sword light that filled the sky. She was in danger of capsizing at any time. On the other hand, Lin Xian was incomparably powerful. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and sword chi surrounded his body. He kept waving the Lone Star sword in his hand, and streaks of shocking sword chi swept in all directions. He relied on his powerful attack power to completely suppress the black-clothed female assassin. If not for her strange movement technique and speed, the battle would have been over long ago. However, no matter how fast she was, Lin Xian was confident that he could kill her. He waved the Lone Star sword in his hand again, and the sword chi in the sky interweaved to form a powerful sword net that enveloped the black-clothed female assassin. This time, the black-clothed female assassin finally had nowhere to hide. She let out a delicate cry, and her body emitted a sharp saber light. She was like a peerless wild saber, and she became one with the machete in her hand as she quickly slashed out. The stunning slash was very terrifying, and it was enough to kill a fifth heaven venerable. However, in the face of Lin Xian's powerful sword net, everything was futile. The two collided, and the entire void whistled. Countless rays of light splattered, and it was a terrifying scene. However, Lin Xian's sword chi was too sharp. Each of them contained the power of the dragon sword soul, and they were incomparably sharp. The sword net formed by countless sword chi was like a heavenly sword, and it directly shattered the saber light. Boom! In an instant, the black-clothed female assassin was severely injured, and she was sent flying while vomiting blood. The machete in her hand also shattered into countless pieces and scattered in the void. Dragon capturing hand. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered, and he stretched out his palm like a fiend god. Spiritual energy surged, forming two true dragon phantoms that roared ferociously. In an instant, the true dragon's palm bound the black-clothed female assassin's body like a chain from hell, trapping her firmly. On the other hand, Lin Xian stepped into the air like a shooting star and quickly arrived in front of his opponent. The Ice Lotus martial spirit rotated and formed countless icy chi that crazily rushed into the assassin's body. It froze her spiritual chi and prevented her from exploding. Then, his soul circulated wildly. Like an invisible hand, it quickly grabbed the other party's head, intending to forcefully search his soul. Lin Xian knew that no matter how he asked, the other party would definitely not reveal any information. Rather than wasting time, he might as well search for it himself. Soul searching was a rather cruel method, and those who had their souls searched would usually end up in a very miserable state. On the other hand, if the fox hunter's soul power was weaker than the other party's, it was very likely that he would suffer a backlash and his life would be in danger. Therefore, most people wouldn't use such a method unless they were extremely confident in themselves, or if the difference in soul force between the two parties was too great, then they would use such a method. Lin Xian's soul power was heaven-defying, comparable to a 7th-grade alchemist. He was confident that his soul power was superior to his opponent's. The other party had tried to take his life several times, which made him really angry. Therefore, he used soul searching. A terrifying soul power entered the other party's mind and quickly searched. Immediately, the black-clothed female assassin revealed a ferocious expression and let out a miserable cry. Lin Xian was expressionless as he continued to use his soul power. In the next moment, his expression changed greatly. The thunderstorm wings on his back flapped rapidly, and countless strange runes bloomed. He turned into a ray of light and instantly flew into the distance. As for the black-clothed female assassin, her body blossomed with light and exploded once again. Rumble! The entire void trembled, and a huge black hole quickly appeared. It was pitch black and terrifying, and everything around it was completely shattered. In the end, nothing was left. Lin Xian, on the other hand, looked ahead with a gloomy expression. This time, he had sealed the other party's spiritual chi so that she couldn't explode. However, he didn't expect that there was a special seal in the other party's mind that sealed her spiritual chi. However, when Lin Xian used brute force to assist in the search, he triggered the restriction and caused it to self-destruct. He knew that this was a powerful method set up by the other party's organization. The purpose was to prevent someone from soul-searching and revealing the organization's secrets. However, all of this made Lin Xian's expression even more gloomy. The other party was decisive and ruthless, and they were extremely thorough. They didn't leave any clues at all. This was definitely a terrifying opponent. Moreover, the other party was proficient in assassination and hid in the dark, making it impossible for him to find her. He could only passively defend. It could be said that this caused a lot of trouble for Lin Xian. However, the others didn't think so. They looked at the sky and were completely stunned. This female assassin was clearly the leader of this assassination operation. Regardless of whether it was her combat strength or movement technique, she was far superior to the others. Even so, she was still captured by Lin Xian and exploded, leaving not even a bone behind. 6 peerless assassins had used the best opportunity to form the strongest killing blow. However, they had failed. Not only did they fail to kill Lin Xian, but they were all killed. This was probably something that had never happened before. One had to know that Lin Xian wasn't an 8th Heaven Venerable Realm expert. His cultivation was only at the 4th Heaven Venerable Realm. Moreover, when he fought with Lu Lai, he used all of his trump cards and consumed a lot of energy. It could be said that he was at his weakest. Even so, he still killed 6 peerless assassins. No one had ever heard of such heaven-defying combat strength. Was he really only at the 4th Heaven Venerable Realm? Why do I feel like he's a peerless old demon? Many people looked at Lin Xian, their hearts trembling. Murong Qingshu was shocked. At this moment, he had already listed Lin Xian as the most dangerous person. If nothing unexpected happened, he definitely wouldn't provoke him in the future. As for Xin Yulong and the 6th grade alchemist, their faces darkened. They were extremely unsightly. Originally, they were rejoicing in his misfortune, thinking that Lin Xian was finished and would definitely be killed by the pursuing assassins. This way, they wouldn't have a huge worry in their hearts. However, the result exceeded their expectations. Not only did Lin Xian not die, he even killed all 6 peerless experts, completing an impossible reversal. All of this had completely stunned them. In addition, the relationship between the two sides made their faces even more gloomy. This was definitely their greatest enemy. In the distance, the big shots were also shocked. They originally thought that Lin Xian was on the same level as them because of his special status. However, after seeing this battle, their thoughts were completely overturned. This kind of strength, this kind of combat strength, he was definitely the peak existence of the younger generation. In addition, with the support of the immortal Martial Academy, Lin Xian's future achievements wouldn't be much weaker than young Master Ling Feng. In the future, another peerless venerable would appear in the Blood Realm. Chapter 1042. Lin Xian had killed Lu Lai and offended the Lu family. He had also angered Child Ling Feng. Child Ling Feng would not let him off easily. Not only that, but there was also a powerful assassin organization after him. Lin Xian was in a very dangerous situation. Everyone looked at the young figure in the sky with complicated expressions. Lin Xian's eyes were gloomy as he fell into deep thought. In the sky, Lin Xian frowned and fell into deep thought. In the end, who was it that actually invited such a terrifying assassin organization like Zhue Ming to kill him? He was very confused. He guessed that it was someone from the Vientiane auction, but he had no evidence. However, whether it was the Vientiane auction or not, he had become enemies with Child Ling Feng's organization after this battle. He shook his head slightly. He could only leave this matter to Yu Fei. The only thing he could do was increase his strength so that the other party would not dare to make a move. Today, he had killed a rank 6 assassin. It seemed shocking, but only he knew how dangerous it was. If it was not for Zero's warning, he would not have known about the assassins in advance, let alone dodging their fatal blow. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian's desire to increase his strength grew. However, the most important thing now was to recover from his injuries. Who knew if there were other assassins nearby? Fortunately, Lin Xian still had Zero as his trump card. Other than him, no one in the organization knew about it. This was also the reason why he could fight against them. With Zero's warning, Lin Xian's life was not in danger for the time being. However, he swore that one day he would find the mastermind behind this and kill him. This included the organization. Anyone who had hunted him would pay the price in blood. With a wave of his hand, Lin Xian summoned his Ice Lotus martial soul. He then sat cross-legged on it and quickly circulated the longevity incantation to absorb the surrounding spiritual energy to heal his injuries and the consumed spiritual energy. This battle was very difficult. First, he fought with Lu Lai and used all his trump cards. Then, he faced a terrifying assassin and almost lost his life. It could be said that each time was extremely dangerous. The slightest carelessness would have killed him. However, although the battle was fierce, Lin Xian had also benefited greatly from it. Fighting with these top experts had increased his combat experience once again, and his understanding of the illusory demonic step had deepened by another level. The other party's ghostly movement technique had given him endless enlightenment. After this, his movement technique would be able to reach the next level. Quickly circulating the art of longevity, Lin Xian absorbed the surrounding spiritual energy to repair the damage to his body. Not long after, he opened his eyes. His injuries and strength had already recovered by about 70 to 80%. His battle prowess had also recovered. Lin Xian had to maintain a strong fighting strength in order to deal with all kinds of sudden situations. The other party was a terrifying assassin organization. They might come to assassinate him at any time. Lin Xian slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and opened his eyes. His gaze was like a sword beam, incomparably sharp and piercing through the void. Feeling that gaze, the surrounding people were shocked. Their eyelids twitched and fear rose in their hearts. After witnessing Lin Xian's means, they were in awe of Lin Xian. They no longer dared to mock him like before. Now, no one dared to provoke him. Even the Shen family's disciples became quiet. They looked at Lin Xian with a trace of deep fear in their eyes. Seeing that Lin Xian had recovered, Ancestor Qi Yu and the others also walked up to him. "Little friend Lin, you have great means. You killed 6 peerless assassins by yourself." Lin Xian also quickly arranged for Wang Li and the rest to spread the news of the auction. This was his first auction, so the grander it was, the better. These matters were handed over to Wang Li, Dongfang and the rest. He himself quickly returned to the Immortal Martial Academy and prepared to request for a group of elders to oversee the auction. At this moment, the higher-ups of the Immortal Martial Academy were gathered in a grand hall and were discussing anxiously. Dean Xian stood in the hall, looking around and said in a deep voice, "According to the news from the Palace of Gods of War, Lin Xian's identity has been confirmed. However, due to the current situation of the Palace of Gods of War, they were temporarily unable to acknowledge Lin Xian. However, we have to make preparations to support Lin Xian with all our might." Hearing Dean Xian's words, the surrounding elders were all shocked. Originally, they were only guessing about Lin Xian's identity. But now that it was confirmed, they were still extremely shocked. They didn't expect that such a person would actually be in their Immortal Martial Academy. "Since this is the case, how should we support him?" one of the elders asked. "Isn't he setting up the Immortal Martial Auction? How about this? We will fully support this auction. We must make it the largest auction in the world," another elder suggested. Hearing this, Dean Xian nodded. "Okay, let's prepare for the auction then. Coincidentally, we still have some things in our hands. We can use this auction to get them out." After discussing for a while, everyone finally nodded. This matter could be considered as settled. However, Dean Xian didn't leave. Instead, she said in a low voice, "Everyone, that place is about to open again." "That place?" All the elders were stunned. After which, their expressions changed as they exclaimed, "Well, it's about to open again. It's actually opened so much earlier this time." Yeah, it hasn't even been 100 years since the last time it opened. Who would have thought that it would open earlier this time? All the elders were incomparably shocked. With regards to that place, they were all extremely solemn and fearful. I don't know the exact reason, but it seems to have something to do with the seal. But it's true that it's about to open. You all should know that although that place is dangerous, there are many heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures within. It can be said that it's a great opportunity. Hence, we can't ignore it. Not only that, the opening of that place not only concerns our immortal martial academy, but also the entire Tianwu continent. Hearing this, the other elders nodded. Evidently, they agreed with Dean Xian's words. How about this? Let's make use of this auction to spread the news. Just as well, let those old fellows from the other powers come over and we can discuss this together. Everyone discussed and finally, they decided to place this matter on the immortal martial auction. However, Lin Xian still didn't know about all this. Although he's ranked in the top 3 of the Immortal Martial Academy, isn't he courting death by going against young Master Lingfeng? Courting death? That's nothing. Another martial artist snorted, I've received the latest news that Lin Xian killed Lu Lai at the Crimson Crescent City's birthday banquet not long ago. What? Killed Lu Lai? Everyone was stunned and couldn't believe it. Lu Lai's name was very famous because he was the peerless genius of the Lu clan. The Lu clan was one of the 8 great clans under young Master Lingfeng. It could be said that they were extremely powerful. However, Lin Xian dared to attack the peerless genius of the Lu clan and even killed him. This was simply too shocking. Everyone was shocked and extremely shocked. At this moment, another martial artist revealed another piece of shocking news. Not only did he kill Lu Lai, but he also killed the peerless assassins of the looming life-chasing organization. What? The 6 peerless assassins of the looming life-chasing organization. Everyone was stunned and felt that their brains weren't enough to process it. The looming life-chasing organization wasn't a clan like the Lu clan. It was a terrifying force that was even more terrifying than the Lu clan. The two weren't of the same nature at all. No matter how strong the Lu clan was, they were still a clan. There were still some restrictions on their actions. However, the looming life-chasing organization was different. They were an assassin organization that hid in the dark. No one knew where their headquarters were. However, this didn't affect their reputation at all. Back then, 49 peerless assassins chased after an 8th heavenly layer venerable expert and killed him in the end. Such a magnificent feat deeply shocked the crowd. It could be said that the looming life-chasing organization was an existence similar to the god of death in the blood realm. No matter who was targeted by the looming life-chasing organization, they wouldn't be able to escape. However, Lin Xian killed 6 of their assassins in a row and survived from a situation of certain death. This was simply too unbelievable. As the news was revealed one after another, Lin Xian's reputation became more and more famous, causing everyone to be extremely shocked and puzzled at the same time. They really wanted to know what this powerful young man who was full of miracles was like. For a time, countless warriors set off for Wind-Seeking City, wanting to find out what was going on. As for the news of Lin Xian and the immortal martial auction, it spread wildly throughout the entire blood realm. However, when the Lu clan heard the news, they were abnormally furious. The top genius in their clan had been killed, which made them incomparably crazy. Initially, they had wanted to keep the news a secret and secretly kill Lin Xian in order to vent the hatred in their hearts. However, they did not expect that the news would be exposed in such a short period of time. Furthermore, it had spread to the point where everyone knew about it. This was a slap to their Lu clan's face. Now that everyone knew that their genius had been killed, how could they raise their heads in front of others in the future? No, we must vent the hatred in our hearts by killing that detestable brat. Otherwise, the Lu clan will definitely become the target of ridicule in the future. Everyone in the Lu clan gritted their teeth. Meanwhile, in a huge and magnificent palace, a beautiful woman was so angry that she shattered everything around her. This action directly scared the maids to the point that they all knelt on the ground. Lin Xian, You dare to kill my brother. I will definitely tear you into pieces. The beautiful woman's face was filled with killing intent, her voice ferocious. She was Lu Lai's younger sister, Lu Mei. The moment she heard that Lu Lai was dead, she was completely stunned. She didn't believe that someone could kill her brother. Someone actually dared to kill her brother. One had to know that Lu Lai was very powerful. As the top warrior of the younger generation, he had many powerful trump cards in his hands. Within the same level, there was no one who could kill him. As for the older generation, they didn't dare to make a move. No one dared to not give face to young Master Ling Feng. One had to know that she was young Master Ling Feng's woman, so no one dared to provoke her brother. However, she didn't expect that someone would actually kill her brother. To an ancient king, that was even more terrifying. His strength must have been incomparably powerful. The items left behind by such a character would definitely be extraordinary. Moreover, this stone tablet was left behind by the ancient king. The things contained within would definitely be unimaginable. Hence, all the supreme experts were extremely agitated. Not only so, even the ordinary martial artists were incomparably shocked. They discussed incessantly and screamed incessantly. F***K. This immortal martial academy is really generous. They can actually take out such a precious item. In the horrified eyes of the crowd, countless rays of light flashed, and 9 huge flood dragons appeared in the sky, side by side. Behind them, a bronze chariot that was suffused with divine light was quickly approaching. The 9 flood dragons were huge, and they roared ferociously. They soared through the clouds, bringing with them a shocking power of wind and thunder as they rushed over. At this moment, everyone's expression changed. Even the experts from the blood field who had come earlier were shocked and terrified. There were only a few days until the auction, so all the big forces and experts of the blood realm had come to Windy City. Among these people, there were 6th Heaven Venerables. There were patriarchs of big families and sect masters of powerful religions. They thought that they were big shots above everyone else in the blood realm. However, at this moment, compared to the other party, they were insignificant. Chapter 1048. 9 Jiao Dragons pulling the chariot. This method was absolutely heaven-defying. One had to know that these were Jiao dragons. Although they weren't real dragons, they still had the blood of dragons. They could be said to be incomparably powerful, truly terrifying beasts. Even some of the strongest experts couldn't fight against them. However, such terrifying beasts were being used to pull a chariot, and there were 9 of them. Just thinking about this scene made one's heart tremble. 9 Jiao dragons pulling a gigantic bronze chariot. That kind of scene was extremely spectacular. To be able to use 9 Jiao dragons to pull a chariot, that person was definitely a peerless figure. Such a person, even if you searched the entire blood realm, you wouldn't be able to find more than a few. Only those powerful king clans would have such boldness. The 9 Jiao dragons roared ferociously, their gigantic bodies filling up the space. They also stopped above Wind-Seeking City and didn't land. Everyone looked at the sky above the city and sucked in a breath of cold air. However, they were extremely excited in their hearts. One had to know that normally, they wouldn't have the chance to see these big shots, not to mention such a spectacle. But today, in just one day, they actually saw 2 peerless figures. This was an earth-shattering event to them. Moreover, they believed that as the auction went on, there would definitely be more terrifying figures arriving. Lin Xian had already informed the Immortal Martial Academy about what happened here. The appearance of such a big shot wasn't something he could handle. He had to invite the elders or palace masters of the academy. The academy didn't delay and directly sent the elders to Wind-Seeking City. Sect Master Lin Xian was in charge of everything. Very quickly, time flowed. It was less than 3 days before the start of the Immortal Martial Auction. Wind-Seeking City was extremely lively, with all kinds of powerful cultivators walking around. The white jade divine ark and the 9 Jiao chariots stopped high in the sky, becoming a spectacle. On this day, the void fluctuated again. A gigantic figure covered the sky, thousands of miles long, majestically coming from afar. It was a gigantic divine bird with 3 heads. It looked ferocious and terrifying. Wherever it passed, there would be sounds of wind and thunder, causing the entire void to tremble. Accompanying it was a terrifying and vast aura, rolling over like the waves of the sea. Divine Bird Palace. Many martial artists below sucked in a breath of cold air, because in the Tianwu continent, only the Divine Bird Palace had such a powerful and terrifying 3-headed divine bird. Countless people's hearts trembled. They did not expect that another powerful force would descend upon Wind-Seeking City. The huge 3-headed divine bird circled in the air, riding on the clouds. Then, with a few flashes of light, countless powerful figures flew down quickly. In an instant, the cultivators of the Divine Bird Palace landed on the street. Their faces were arrogant, and they walked with majestic gait. Each of them exuded a powerful aura, which made the surrounding martial artists not dare to approach them. Soon, these people disappeared from the streets, leaving behind numerous martial artists who were trembling in fear. However, before these martial artists could come back to their senses, another phenomenon appeared in the sky. A shocking sword light flew over from the distance, splitting mountains and splitting rivers. It was incomparably terrifying, and it tore the clouds in half. Terrifying sword chi spread out in all directions. A gigantic heavenly sword appeared in the sky. It was engraved with densely packed inscriptions and emitted a terrifying energy. White figures flew out from the huge sword, and they were like rays of sword light, rushing down instantly. This was a group of swordsmen. Every one of them was dressed in white robes, and they carried long swords on their backs. Their expressions were extremely sharp, like unsheathed swords. Deity sword manner. Seeing this group of people, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air again. This was definitely a terrifying force. Soon, the elders of the Celestial Martial Academy came and invited these people in. Next, various powerful forces arrived one after another. Lin Xian followed Hall Master Wan to receive them. At this moment, a golden light flashed in the sky, and countless rays of light gathered, as if a sun had descended upon Wind-Seeking City. That terrifying aura was unbearable to the crowd. So terrifying, what is that? Countless people looked at this scene, and their hearts trembled. Under the horrified gaze of the crowd, the golden sun spun rapidly, and finally formed a human figure. It was an old man in a Taoist robe. His body shone with a golden light, as if he was covered in golden feathers, emitting a metallic luster. Taoist Golden Crow. When Hall Master once saw that figure, he didn't dare to delay and hurriedly went up to him. Beside him, Lin Xian was also shocked because he had seen Taoist Golden Crow before. Previously, he had seen Taoist Golden Crow forging weapons on the 8th level of the Blazing Mountain. He didn't expect that he would meet him again. When Taoist Golden Crow appeared, he didn't look at Hall Master Wan directly. Instead, he frowned and looked at the other side of the sky. Seeing this scene, the crowd was puzzled. However, Taoist Golden Crow snorted coldly, and his cold voice rang out. "Who are you? Acting so sneakily. I hate people like you the most." After saying that, he waved his hand, and countless rays of golden light gathered. It was as if a pair of golden wings had streaked across the sky. Countless rays of golden light pierced through the sky and flew to a corner of the sky. The crowd was shocked, and their eyes widened. They couldn't understand. Because there was no one there. Why would this old man do that? However, at the next moment, they understood. There was nothing in the sky at first, but suddenly there were several screams. Then, terrifying blood spread out, dyeing the sky red. 5 black-clothed corpses fell from the sky. Each of them had countless golden feathers piercing through their bodies. Seeing the corpses, many people screamed in shock. The Life Chaser organization. Lin Xian's face turned ghastly pale. Needless to say, those people were there to kill him. However, he didn't expect Taoist Golden Crow to attack first and kill them. As the 5 corpses fell to the ground, Another figure quickly ran off into the distance like a ghostly wisp of smoke. However, Taoist Golden Crow snorted coldly. He stretched out his hand like a giant beast claw and grabbed upward. Soon, the illusory figure was forced out of the sky. It was an old man with gray hair. His eyes were like the god of death, and they were filled with a terrifying murderous aura. "How dare you touch me? I'm a member of the Life Chaser organization." The old man roared ferociously. "Who are you? It's none of my business. How dare you act sneakily in front of me? Only death awaits you." Taoist Golden Crow snorted coldly. He stretched out his giant palm, which was shining with a terrifying golden light, and grabbed toward the old man. He didn't care who the old man was and attacked directly. "Umph!" The old man in black also shouted angrily, and a powerful aura burst out from his body. The aura was too terrifying. It was like a flash flood, and it made people despair. 6th level honorable realm. Everyone screamed when they felt the aura. Lin Xian's face turned ghastly pale in an instant. He didn't expect the other party to send a peerless assassin like a 6th level honorable realm to kill him. Chapter 1049. This battle was extremely dangerous for Lin Xian. One had to know that even though he was powerful and was the leader of the younger generation, he was only at the 4th heaven of the Venerable Realm. Even if he went all out, he could at most fight against a 5th heaven of the Venerable Realm. But against a 6th heaven of the Venerable Realm, he had no power to fight back. It could be said that if the 6th heaven of the Venerable Realm attacked, he would definitely die. The surrounding people were also shocked. They naturally knew about the hatred between Lin Xian and the life-chasing organization, but they did not expect that the life-chasing organization would send a 6th heaven of the Venerable Realm to kill Lin Xian. This was definitely a death situation. Even Hall Master Wan's face was extremely gloomy. Lin Xian was a genius disciple of the Immortal Martial Academy, but the life-chasing organization did not care about the Immortal Martial Academy and sent such a peerless assassin to kill Lin Xian. This made him extremely angry. Fortunately, Taoist Golden Crow had attacked, otherwise he would have attacked too. In the void, the black-robed old man emitted the powerful aura of a 6th heaven of the Venerable Realm. He was like a god of war, looking disdainfully at the surroundings as he resisted the terrifying palm. However, Taoist Golden Crow snorted in disdain. "Assassin? I hate assassins the most." That. In the sky, the golden palm flew out with a flickering golden light. It was like a golden sun as it quickly rushed towards the black-robed old man. This scene was too terrifying. It was as if a real sun was held in Taoist Golden Crow's hand and blasted in all directions. Bang! The two collided. Without any suspense, the black-robed old man was forcefully refined by the golden sun and turned into a bloody mist under the horrified gazes of the crowd. In the end, all the blood in the sky evaporated, leaving nothing behind. It was as if it had never appeared. Seeing this scene, the hearts of the crowd trembled violently and their scalps went numb. A strong sense of fear rose from the bottom of their hearts. That was a 6th heaven of the Venerable Realm, an extremely powerful existence. However, he could not even withstand a single blow and was forcefully refined into a bloody mist. In the end, not even a trace of blood was left behind. This old man is too terrifying. Who exactly is he? Could it be that the sect leader of a 6th rank sect has attacked? Everyone discussed spiritedly, not daring to believe what they were seeing. It was because this type of method was just too terrifying, too heaven-defying. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he watched the scene. His heart was pounding wildly, and he felt the blood in his body boiling. This was a true peerless expert. To be able to kill a 6th-layer martial venerable assassin with a single move, Yichen didn't take the other party seriously at all. At this moment, Lin Xian was extremely excited. He knew that this was his true goal. Taking a deep breath, he calmed the excitement in his heart, and his eyes flashed with a shocking light. Because he believed that one day he would also reach such heights. Temple Master Wan's expression was grave. He moved and quickly took Taoist Golden Crow away. Knowing that the terrifying figure had disappeared, Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. They found that the clothes on their backs were completely soaked, as if they had gone through a great battle. Who exactly was that old man? However, it was so terrifying that it could kill a sixth heaven venerable in one move. Taoist Golden Crow, he is Taoist Golden Crow. Someone said with a trembling voice. Are you saying that he is the peerless demon who has lived for more than 1,000 years, an expert from the Golden Crow clan? Hearing this, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They didn't expect that such a powerful old man wasn't a human, but a demon. Not only that, he was from the Golden Crow clan, which was extremely powerful among the demons. It was no wonder that he was so domineering and didn't take the life-chasing organization seriously at all. The Golden Crow clan was extremely terrifying. It was an existence that could compete with the human king clans. Why would they take an assassin organization seriously? After knowing the other party's identity, everyone was shocked. Taoist Golden Crow attacked the life-chasing organization. Could it be that he was protecting Lin Xian? Everyone guessed. If that was the case, the news was too terrifying. No, it doesn't look like it. I guess he doesn't like people hiding around him. A martial artist said. Hearing this, everyone was speechless. Just because he hated the other party's actions, he banned all the assassins from the life-chasing organization in one move. This was too domineering and arrogant. However, no one dared to say anything because he had the right to be domineering and arrogant. In the crowd, the people from the Vientiane auction were also mixed in. When they saw this scene, they were so shocked that their jaws dropped. They didn't expect the life-chasing organization to send a sixth heaven venerable realm assassin to kill Lin Xian. However, what was even more unexpected was that these assassins were mercilessly killed before they could even make a move. The reason was that the other party didn't like people hiding around him. Needless to say, these assassins were really unlucky. Damn it. That brat's luck is so good. He actually dodged that sure-kill attack. The people from the Vientiane auction looked ferocious. They were gritting their teeth so hard that they almost broke. Originally, Lin Xian would definitely die if a sixth heaven venerable realm assassin attacked. But now, all their plans were in vain. Let's go, we can't stay here any longer. There are too many big shots around him. If we attack now, it's tantamount to courting death. The people from the Vientiane auction retreated. Although they were unwilling, they didn't dare to joke around with their lives. The group of people quickly escaped through the crowd. They weren't the only ones who were shocked. The people from the Lu clan were also shocked. They also saw this scene and their eyelids twitched. Elder, what should we do? Do we still follow the original plan? A middle-aged man asked. The leader was a grand elder from the Lu family. His eyelids twitched when he heard this. Cancel the plan. Don't attack. There are too many big shots. If we anger any of them, we won't be able to fight against them. Let's wait until the auction is over. The Grand Elder of the Lu family immediately cancelled the plan to assassinate Lin Xian. He was really scared. Even a sixth heaven venerable realm assassin was killed in one move. He didn't dare to take the risk now. If Lin Xian still had such a person around him, he would be dead for sure. For a moment, those who wanted to kill Lin Xian all hid themselves. They didn't dare to show their faces. However, none of this could escape Lin Xian's eyes. Brother Xian, I found out that the people from the Vientiane auction and the Lu family have come to Wind-Seeking City. Moreover, according to various signs, the life-chasing organization was invited by the Vientiane auction. Yu Fei quickly said from the side. He'd entered the Venerable Realm a long time ago. Moreover, he'd relied on his outstanding intelligence-gathering skills and the enormous resources in Lin Xian's possession to establish an intelligence network that was beginning to take shape. He didn't dare to say anything about other places, but in Wind-Seeking City, no movement could escape his eyes. Therefore, the Vientiane auction and the Lu family's movements were all under his control. Send someone to keep a close eye on them. Be careful, don't make a move on the Lu family. As for the Vientiane auction, let Dongfang take care of it with a group of people. In my opinion, there are plenty of people who can trample you to death. There are indeed plenty of people, but you aren't one of them. Lin Xian shrugged, with an indifferent expression on his face. Hearing this, the gloomy young man had the urge to vomit blood. At this moment, the handsome young man beside him who had been silent all this while suddenly spoke. "You are that Lin Xian?" He stood with his hands clasped behind his back, and an air of arrogance could be seen between his brows. "That's right, it's him." Before Lin Xian could speak, the sixth-grade alchemist beside him gritted his teeth and spoke. Hearing this, the handsome young man nodded. After which, his eyes narrowed as an indescribable energy gushed out from his body, gushing towards Lin Xian. Feeling this energy, Lin Xian furrowed his brows, and his expression sank. This was because he could feel that this was the power of soul force, and it was an extremely powerful soul force. This soul force far surpassed that of the gloomy young man beside him. To be able to reach this level of soul force, he definitely wasn't simple. At this moment, the handsome young man slowly spoke. His soul force was very strong, but it didn't seem to have reached the standard of a seventh-grade alchemist. This strength was only at the peak of a sixth-grade alchemist, but compared to me, the difference was too great. The handsome young man shook his head. Hearing this, Xin Yulong and the gloomy young man's expressions changed, and soon after, a joyful smile appeared on their faces. Like I said, how could he be a seventh-grade alchemist? Now it seems like he really isn't. That's right. Refining a seventh-grade pill? That's just a bunch of nonsense. In my opinion, that pill wasn't refined by him at all. The two of them looked at Lin Xian with a cold smile on their faces. At this moment, the handsome young man spoke again. "Brat, you can't be too arrogant, especially when it comes to alchemy. You should tuck your tail between your legs and behave yourself. You should know that there are many people who are more outstanding than you. At least compared to me, you're nothing." The handsome young man's face was full of arrogance, and his eyebrows were filled with conceit. He didn't put Lin Xian in his eyes at all. The gloomy young man also sneered. "Of course, with Brother Tianyu making a move, he definitely won't be a match for you. Brat, in front of Brother Tianyu, you're nothing." However, the handsome young man shook his head. "Unless it's a seventh-grade alchemist, no one is worthy of me making a move." After saying this, he directly walked into the auction house, and didn't look at Lin Xian again. Seeing the handsome young man walk in, Shen Yulong and the gloomy young man sneered and quickly followed. Looking at the three figures, Wang Li was so angry that he gnashed his teeth. Who do they think they are? They actually dare to be arrogant in front of Brother Xian. Yeah, Brother Xian, why don't you teach them a lesson? Look at that brat's arrogant attitude. Those who don't know would think that he's a pill king. Another Dragon Sword Pavilion disciple also had a face full of anger. Lin Xian's face was also gloomy. The other party was too arrogant. However, he didn't act blindly without thinking, because from the soul force test just now, he knew that the other party's soul force was very powerful and had already reached the level of a seventh-grade alchemist. This was definitely a powerful opponent. Don't underestimate him. He should be a seventh-grade alchemist. Lin Xian slowly said. A seventh-grade alchemist. Wang Li and the others were shocked, and they sucked in a breath of cold air. They didn't expect that the handsome young man was actually a seventh-grade alchemist. This couldn't help but be shocked. It had to be known that seventh-grade alchemists were extremely rare and precious, and every one of them was a VIP that various powers fought over. Ordinary seventh-grade alchemists were all old monsters that had lived for hundreds of years, and there were very few young people like him. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.